to win in fantasy football, to win in anything in life, you're going to have to take chances. You're going to have to push the limits. You're going to have to get ballsy. On tonight's show, Bindles and I are joined by an extra special guest. Someone who took a chance, created something never before seen in the fantasy football landscape, and is now unanimously considered the ultimate source for all NFL Coachspeak interpretation. Greg Brainos from the Coachspeak Index.
Because I'm ballsy. I don't take no shit from anyone. Because I'm a stud. I'm ballsy. Anywhere one.
Hey yo, what's up, Greg? How's your night going, brother?
Great. Now that I hear that soundtrack, I want to hear more. Let's do an hour 20 of just that song. Incredible.
Yeah, that was me and Chris were going back and forth. We started this show a few weeks ago, and yeah, we had to get in the lab and cook something up pretty dope. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I've listened to that like at least 50 times. So I'm with you on that.
It's a vibe.
Yeah, so we like to start off with a little bit of dynasty talk. So I've been seeing some discussion today kind of on Josh Downs and kind of him being underpriced. I think Madison Parkhill, great follow on Twitter, was kind of hyping up Downs. Greg, how do you feel about Downs right now, kind of with the quarterback situation there? I think his ADP in best ball is a little bit depressed due to kind of not the stacking element and just fears for the offense. But what are your overall Josh Downs thoughts and any coach speak on him?
I think Josh Downs is an excellent player, mired in an unfortunate situation. And, you know, you can look at the metrics and show how good he is. Like, we know how good Josh Downs is. Something that I haven't heard many people talk about is they just drafted Tyler Warren at 15th overall. Like, this is another guy. This is another mouth to feed in this offense. And this is someone who works in kind of a similar area where Josh Downs works, at least part of where he works. And I just haven't heard a lot of people say, well, hey, Tyler Warren is there now as well. I don't love the outlook, especially in, you know, half PPR dynasty leagues. It's tough, man. When you look at receivers who go in that area, as we move forward past this year, whatever the quarterback situation ends up being in the future, like, we're just getting more like good wide receivers into the league. So yeah, good player, but just it's a little tough for me to get there on him right now.
Yeah, it's a tough situation, right? Like, just hopefully if it's Daniel Jones and he can just somehow keep the offense afloat and not just throw a bunch of 5-yard passes into the stands like Anthony Richardson, then we can at least get him to pay off his ADP, which is pretty depressed. But yeah, I think in Dynasty it's a little bit different. I think he's so cheap relative to what you get for him, where I'm a little bit more willing to bet on the talent. And obviously it's more than a 1-year thing for them. So maybe if they do get a better situation going into next year. But yeah, I have another question for you. I saw you teasing something about Cam Scatterbo. What are your thoughts on Cam Scatterbo? And it seems like you're into him based on what I saw, but I don't know the full take yet. So
yeah, I'm into him. People were saying, like, I'm looking for the quote. Like, they were assuming that there was a new quote in the New York Giants thread on the Coachspeak Index Discord. It's not just the Coachspeak why I'm interested in Cam Scatterbo. There's another separate signal that's not Coachspeak related that paired with the Coachspeak, I think it makes a good strong signal. It's not. I mean, it's not a guy where I'm like, I'm not leaving a single draft without him. But I do think, and I'm probably going to end up just like tweeting about it. Maybe it'll be tomorrow. But when you look at that running back room, who is going to be the goal line back? I mean, almost certainly that's going to be Scadaboo. Okay, so we're starting just from there with the goal line work, and then we know his ability in the passing game. Now, obviously, Tyrone Tracy converted wide receiver to running back, and he has those kinds of chops as well. But Scadaboo can do that stuff really well. And I mean, look at Brian Daboll's face when they asked him about Cam Scadaboo on the night that they drafted. Just as soon as they said the name Cam Scadaboo, like without even getting the rest of the question, as soon as they said his name, Brian Daboll's face just like lights up, big grin. So these are things where, I mean, if it's just that, then I'm not saying, oh, I'm going all in on Scadaboo. But when you start looking at all these different things that the coach speak on them, how Joe Shane had trouble sleeping because he wasn't sure if they were going to be able to get him the next day. I think he definitely a better running back than what Devin Singletary is right now. And we saw Brian Daboll be a very reactive coach, and it's just his personality. And those two fumbles that Tyrone Tracy had last year, like really doghoused him. Daboll was so upset with that. He's firmly on the hot seat going into this season. So any kind of early season fumble by Tracy, I mean, that just widens the gap even more. I think by the end of the season, and I think probably like even at the beginning of the season, I think Scadaboo, because of that goal line work, will end up being the more valuable running back there.
Awesome.
I think that makes a ton of sense. I was curious when I watched the Arizona State Texas game live, how much of an impression that one game might have made on all the NFL coaches and across the league, because they saw Scadaboo leave it all on the field. Literally, he's puking on the sidelines. He's making giant passing plays, throwing the ball. He had that big pass he threw. He's using every facet of the game. He's running, he's catching, he's doing it all. He's carrying the team on his back. They easily could have won that game. And so I think with that national spotlight and just the aura that he has and kind of his vibe, he seems like a good locker room guy. He seems like a true leader. And so I thought, wow, coming out of that game, I was convinced, this guy's got something. And it's obviously you can look at his stats and his production, but there's something extra there too that I think people are going to want to be a part of. And
he's not obviously the fastest guy. We saw his 5 or 4. God, 5.65 would be terrible. It was like 4.65. But like you don't. And J.K. Dobbins showed this last season with the Chargers. That was a guy who had no real like burst, definitely no long speed. But if you just have good vision and you have a good ability to either evade tackles or force missed tackles, that's going to go a long way. And when you're a guy who, I mean, the David Montgomery comparison makes a lot of sense, because this is a player who is just always getting that extra like 1 to 2 to sometimes like 3, 4, 5, 6 extra yards when he should have been stopped like right here, just always kind of falling forward there.
Definitely.
So yeah, Chris is a big Texas fan, big Matthew Golden guy. So I'm curious to hear, obviously it's just June now, a few days into June, but do you have any early lean on the Green Bay wide receiver room? I know that's a very perilous question, but
that's a great question.
How do you feel about Golden, I guess, overall, and where he fits into that passing game?
It's just so tough to know with them, because they just absolutely do not give a shit about having a number 1 wide receiver in Green Bay. They love having a lot of different wide receivers who they think are really good, who are fairly versatile Guys like Christian Watson, who right now is injured. Guys like Jaden Reed. Dobbs is more of a kind of constant, just X player out there for them who's going to play likely a lot of snaps again. So I don't know. A lot of people don't love the profile for Matthew Golden, but the draft capital certainly says a good amount. This is just a team though that ran the ball so much last year, and they really want to run the ball. It's a pretty expensive price, I feel, on Matthew Golden right now.
I have a little bit of I guess question for you is in terms of, do you think they will be as run heavy as they were last year? Because I don't know, in my mind, I feel like a lot of that was the fact that Jordan Love was injured. So that I think they were kind of leaning on the running game. I think they will be more run heavy than the average team, but I just feel like that skews the numbers a little bit. So I don't know if you think that there's any credence to that, or push back on my my vibes based analysis there.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, LaFleur is just going to do if whatever he's doing in a game, whatever he starts out doing, if you can't stop it, he's just going to keep doing that the entire game. And we saw that. I remember the game a couple of years ago where he was saying, well, probably not going to use Aaron Jones a lot today, right? He was a little bit banged up, and they used him a ton on the first drive. It was people were like, oh my God, he's gonna play like this entire game. Played like 8 plays on the first drive, and because the other team couldn't stop him, so they just kept running it with Aaron Jones. The rest of the game, they were just like run. Like whatever is working for him at the beginning of the game, he's just going to keep doing that. And Green Bay was just built really to run the ball last season with they had a very strong offensive line. They have a strong offensive line again. We saw that with the Eagles last year. Really strong offensive line. Incredible players in AJ Brown and Devonta Smith and very good tight end in Dallas Goedert, but had this just amazing offensive line and a really good running back. Why do anything else when this is working? Like Josh Jacobs, I think, much better runner, just kind of pure running back kind of guy than what they had in Aaron Jones previously, at least the year before.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Chris, I know you had some more questions if you want to fire them off.
Yeah, of course. That was one of my top questions. I had just been talking with the chat and some other people in the community, and a lot of people seem to be interested in the Packers wide receiver room. So I think you made a really good point there about not changing things when it's working. Josh Jacobs was the engine of the offense. Like Bindles said, he had Love injured a little bit and start the season. And so they really stuck with that. And then actually Emmanuel Wilson had some nice runs too, powered by that offensive line. So I don't know how much is going to change there, but hopefully maybe with the first round draft capital in Golden, they just have this great connection and maybe he becomes their true alpha. So I'd be excited to see that. Greg, I know you've watched thousands of hours of coaching press conferences and you've indexed countless data points related to injuries and the depth chart battles. And I think there's one question that everyone is wondering. Do you prefer waffles or pancakes?
Oh man. It really depends on just kind of like time of the day. I feel plays such an important factor in like soberness level.
So
plays such a vital role in this. I would say just like a really, really good waffle. I think for me, I love being able to trap as someone who uses a lot of maple syrup, being able to trap the maple syrup in like each little grid, and you get kind of like a juicy little punch in each bite. Yeah, I'm about that.
Bindles, can I get a rating on the reliability of that Coachspeak there on the waffles?
Well, he's bringing in soberness index there as well. So I think I'm gonna trust him because like
Trust.
when you're drunk, you're going for what you really love, right? You're like no inhibitions. You're just like, okay, I want a waffle over a pancake. So I'm trusting that right there.
Awesome. I think I'm probably leaning into waffles in my maturity, in my older age. Maybe it was pancakes in the past, but I've elevated the game. Follow-up question: do you have a favorite brunch spot?
Oh man, I don't know if I have a favorite brunch spot in LA. I have a favorite kind of just like hangout spot. I mean, that could be good for brunch, but like we like going there during the day, called El Coyote, and it was actually it was featured in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood when they're doing that quick montage of like all the signs in these restaurants and places around LA. They have these margarita like shake things there, these like frozen margaritas that taste like milkshakes. The alcohol like just tastes like it isn't there, and you're like, are they scamming me? And then like a couple hours you're like, are they scamming me? Like there's like two of them all of a sudden. Yeah, pretty delicious and just like a fun really good food as well. Yeah.
That sounds like a fun time. You had me at margaritas. Down here in Houston, we do a lot of Tex-Mex, and margaritas are pretty much the main course. So love it. Love to hear it. On kind of a news topic related thing, one thing that we saw come across today was related to, I think, Liam Cohen talking about Travis Etienne. And I'm just curious if that is enough of a signal where in best ball, do we want to be leaning back into ETN? I'd probably been leaning away from him recently. So I think I wanted to, open to Greg and then Bindles, your thoughts as well.
Yeah. It's a really tough puzzle, this Jags backfield, because you have a guy in Tank Bigsby who does this, fast to and through the hole that Liam Cohen loves and forces these missed tackles, which Liam Cohen loves. But he's a complete zero in the pass game. He's a big dude, but he can't pass protect for shit, and just hands of stone in the pass game. Like, you throw the ball to him and something Looney Tunes is about to happen to your team. And then with Bashal Tutin, Liam Cohen said, we love that he has home run ability. We really liked seeing how many missed tackles he forced behind the line of scrimmage. And then, you're thinking about what it looked like last year in Tampa Bay with Bucky Irving making all these people miss behind the line of scrimmage and turning these like 8-yard losses into a 3-yard gain. But he comes into the league with a fumbling problem. 9 or 10 fumbles in the last 2 seasons at Virginia Tech. He fumbles on his very first live carry. Which, oh my God, like how more down bad could you be? I think is grammatically correct there. And then ETN, as a guy who hasn't looked that great in the metrics the past couple seasons, and James Gladstone, a guy that's going to pay attention to that kind of stuff and really examine that. So I mean, what Cohen said today isn't bad. Another part of the problem here is that we don't have reliability ratings on Liam Cohen yet, because he doesn't have any, he doesn't have a real history of Coachspeak to grade. So this is probably just like a camp battle kind of situation. I know a couple people online were saying, oh, him saying that, or Cohen saying that ETN is going to be used in jet sweeps and screens is actually bad for him. I don't think it's really that bad when you look in the context of what Liam Cohen did in his Bucks offense with using 2 running backs and, using these guys on jet sweeps in that pony personnel. Also, how much he uses running backs and his players in the screen game, like ran a lot of screens last year. Like that's completely fine for him to say. I don't know at this point. Like I could see it being ETN and Tootin kind of together. I could see each one of them fulfilling kind of a different role, right? Like Tank Bigsby's not going to be out there during kind of passing stuff, but maybe kind of shorter, in close to the goal line, maybe inside the 20. They use Bigsby. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Yeah, I think on my end, I definitely don't want to just think that I know what's going to happen, like from an overall standpoint. But in terms of who I want to be betting on, it's definitely Tootin, just from kind of just the upside of that pick. And I think if there's any FUD because of the ETN words that we got today and Tootin drops a little bit, then I'll definitely try to scoop that dip up. But
Sure.
I think I'm more interested Tootin number 1, ETN number 2, and then Bigsby number 3. So I'm open to all of them, especially because Bigsby does go so late that, I don't think it's the worst click ever. But Tootin is definitely my guy there, where I just think even if he doesn't start the season off kind of super strong, I think down the stretch we see rookie running backs kind of take over, and that's kind of the bet I want to be making. So
I'm wondering if it's a true 3-headed monster, if it really comes down to what's going on in the game script. You've mentioned how ETN is not a pass catcher. Tank Bigsby's not really either.
No. Bigsby is the one that's not. ETN, can definitely work in the pass game.
Okay, my bad there. I think I just misheard you, but so I definitely recognize that it's Bigsby who's not the pass catcher. I don't know. I'm not as familiar with Tootin's full spectrum of his game, if that's another area he'd excel in. I do think of, and maybe it's a deeper kind of dynasty stash, but LaKent Allen out of Syracuse, he reminds me a little bit of Sean Tucker as well. So there's an interesting connection there with the Syracuse running backs and Liam Cohen and the Bucks, and what we saw them do with Bucky, with Rashad White, and with Sean Tucker. So maybe it's another weird mix where some games you have one guy really go off, and then does the game script favor one of the other guys?
And just another point there as well. You mentioned LaQuint Allen, the Jags drafting one running back. Like, I feel okay, not as great for ETN and Bigsby, right? The Jags drafting 2 running backs. Okay, maybe they don't love these guys.
That resonates with me so much because, and I'll put myself out there. I'm very bearish on Rome Odunze in year 2. I think in a similar vein, the coaching staff and that team, the Bears, going out and drafting a first-round pick in Loveland to be a pass catcher and be a important part of that offense, and then also taking Luther Burden. I think those 2 selections in my mind were pretty damning for Rome Odunze. And I know they spent a first-round pick on him as well, and they got to replace Keenan Allen. But it just seems like unless this offense takes a gigantic step forward, I don't know. Can Rome? There's some people optimistic about him, but I didn't see enough in year 1.
Yeah, it's with him. We got a real misconnection on kind of the deep stuff last year between Caleb and Rome. And then this year, Ben Johnson comes in and he's saying, yeah, we don't plan on throwing the ball deep a ton. Like, what we want to do is raise Caleb Williams' passing EPA. So, well, you don't raise that by taking deep shots. And Ben Johnson's been talking about, well, first of all, saying that wherever I've been, the slot receiver has been the focal point of my offense. And then saying that, yeah, we want to, play this intermediate passing game and get some yak guys to create some yak for us. And they spent the 10th overall pick on Colston Loveland, and then they spent the 39th overall pick on Luther Burden. So what he said, we saw them act on that in the draft.
Totally. So I just wonder, is where Odunze is going in best ball right now? Is it priced in that he's already at his ceiling, that people are so confident in the Bears taking a big step forward? So I think it's just, I've really gravitated towards the cheaper pieces, which is Loveland past pick 100, now past pick 115, and then Burden starting to fall too with the concern over his maybe soft tissue injuries, but there's still plenty of time. And if I'm going to get a piece of the Bears, I like to do it cheaply, which for the longest time was actually the DeAndre Swift pick. He's risen a little bit, but unless something else happens there, I think he's another cheap piece.
I think the one great thing about Rome Odunze right now in as a pass catcher for the Bears is that he's pretty much the one guy we don't have to worry about with like any effort or work ethic issues or any kind of like off field stuff. There's no like injury things that he's dealing with right now. So that's I feel like a pretty big boon in his corner as Luther Burden deals with soft tissue injury, and then DJ Moore, we saw him walk off the field in the middle of a play last year, and he has his own like diva and work ethic kind of concerns, and then Loveland coming off an injury as well. So yeah, that's at least a nice little thing for him.
So we have entered a 30-second best ball mania draft. We're about to get right into it. We're picking from the number 2 spot. Let me just fix this for a sec. Let me see if this is better. Well, it's gonna mess with the overlay for a second there. Seems like we're a little off. I'll try to fix that in a second. But one thing that logically came to my mind around, with Odunze kind of falling flat his first year, is this the other side of the Michael Penix Jr. equation where he is the guy? He is so good that he was really elevating the offense at Washington, and all of the guys that he played with, Polk, McMillan, Odunze, they were just really benefiting from playing with him. Is kind of one thing that I've been thinking of. And is he is Michael Penix the guy we should be targeting? But we're on the clock here with the 2nd overall pick. By ADP, it could be Saquon, it could be Justin Jefferson or CD.
Jefferson or CD, either one of those would be my preference. I have CD over him, but completely fine with Jefferson. I like to kind of mix it up and try to get my exposures kind of even-ish on them.
Let's take CD. I was looking through your ranks recently. I think I did notice that you had the receiver set that way. I'm pretty equal on my exposures because I've got them both ranked ahead of Barkley. Mm-hmm. So I'm happy to start that way.
Yeah, putting out a new set of rankings tonight, and there will be a CSV file with it this time with all of them jumbled together.
Nice.
People
you got the feedback for that?
Chastising me and browbeating me into it. So doing what the people ask.
Greg, you can't let the chat beat you down. You got to punch back. You got to stick to your guns. You got to be ballsy.
Hey, what's an extra 14 hours of work?
Man, don't I know it? I feel like Bindles, you can relate. You're keeping dynasty ranks current, and I know that's a huge task to do. I've been trying to keep my best ball ranks current, and I used to keep a log of it, and I just can't keep up because now that Underdog added the ability on the phone to change the rankings so easily, it's so hard for me to keep a log of, oh, I just moved Mark Andrews up 2 spots versus, I don't know. It's a lot. But yeah, I was taking a look through your rankings, and also I want to say shout out to everyone in the chat. Thanks for being here. What's up, guys? How you guys doing on this Monday night? Hope your week's starting off great. Make sure you check out the Coachspeak Index. We got the links in the description here. Make sure you follow Greg on Twitter and check out his Patreon, which gets you access to the Discord. I highly recommend it. I'll admit I'm new to the Patreon. I'm a new user of the Discord, and I'm already obsessed. And I've been following the Coachspeak Index on Twitter, but I just didn't know what I was missing out. So I highly encourage you guys to check it out. Go see what it's all about. Become a CSI agent if you'd like, and you won't regret it. If you're like me and you're addicted to the NFL news and having any kind of edge you can get in best ball or across, any fantasy, you're going to enjoy it. So just wanted to put that out there as well. We're on our way in this best ball mania. We've made our first pick at the 2 spot, and we'll see how this one turns out. Greg, I wanted to ask, I know you've been ripping some drafts on stream. About how many drafts have you done since the NFL draft?
I have, I think now 45
Nice.
BBMs that I've done. I was going to do only BBMs, but I'm on a pace now that, to finish pretty early. So I need to slow down in the BBM. So I think I'll probably just max the next puppy that drops, and then do some of the other like the pug or whatever. I think I'll have enough time to just knock some of those out here and there.
Nice.
Totally.
Yeah, I know we were talking before stream too. If you guys haven't checked out Greg on YouTube as well, he's got some huge guests already that have been on his channel. And he's has a huge week ahead with Field Yates, Josh Norris, Justin Herzig. So a lot of big names. So be sure to go check those streams out as well. They're super fun. And don't forget about the best ball karaoke streams as well. Those are always a blast.
Yeah, no best ball karaoke this week, just because it's such a big live streaming week with guests. That'll probably return next week.
Yeah, that's such a unique idea. I love the when people are doing fun and different stuff on stream, right? Like it's fun.
Yeah, man. Like what's the fun in being a copycat?
You are ballsy, Greg. You're a 1 of 1, and we appreciate you being on and drafting and talking ball with us tonight. It's already off to a great start with this one. Luckily, we got the 2 spot. We're about to come up on our second pick. How have you been playing this with CD? Do you typically like to go a receiver again? We got Bucky and Jacobs there. I mean, I'm pretty big on Bucky. I think you are too.
Yeah.
Should we pull the trigger on Bucky here?
Yeah, let's do Bucky.
And then I'll keep flipping back. I have my ranks in here. I've also got the ADP, but I'll keep it on ADP just so we have a good reference of what's available. I think you're right about the pacing being 48 best ball manias in at this time of year. I mean, I don't think there's a wrong way to do it. I like to get into the zone sometimes, and I feel like I can see the matrix, and I got to draft. Like I'm ahead of the ADP. I know what's going to happen. I can make all the right clicks, so I just let it flow when it comes. And then, but there's been a lot of fun other tournaments. I've started to dabble into the Eliminator, and some of the smaller tournaments I think have an interesting structure and advancement rate. Things like the Pug and the Hound, those kind of ones. So I've been dabbling around, but definitely BBM is my focus, and so far so good. Did you do a number of best ball manias before the schedule release?
I did some before the schedule released. We're on the clock here. Mm-hmm. I'd be good with Josh Jacobs or Garrett Wilson here.
I like Garrett Wilson because it gives us an option to feel really strong about taking Fields later on.
Yeah,
it's kind of a fun out. So I'm open to that unless we want to go Jacobs, Bindles. Do you have any pull on this one?
Let's go Wilson. Yeah, I like the Fields out later on. I think he's pretty mispriced for his upside. Just kind of the Jets stink on him. I think he's pretty locked in to start all 17 games, barring injury. And whenever he plays, he's scoring points in bunches. So I'm really into Wilson and Fields at their current costs.
For sure.
Totally.
Yeah. They want to run the hell out of the ball. They have a good offensive line. They invested in the offensive line in the draft.
Year over year too. It's the Jets have been accumulating a better offensive line, and hopefully it can come together with Fields, with Brees having a maybe healthy, kind of bounce back season. I've been strongly in the Brees camp. I think he's still a good pick where he's going in these best ball drafts. And it seems like the Jets offense is going to be pretty consolidated around Garrett Wilson and Brees to some extent.
Yeah. I would definitely expect that.
Yeah, I mean, I think Wilson can just rack up the targets. I mean, we've seen that with even these shitty quarterbacks. Just I don't know, it was 160 targets, something crazy, 170 targets last year. And they didn't, other than Mason Taylor, it's just kind of a bunch of nobodies in that receiving room. So I think even though I don't think Justin Fields is the best passer, I just think volume and Garrett Wilson's talent will kind of make up for that. And it is best ball, right? So we don't have to be as worried about kind of if he has a few down games just based on the efficiency not hitting in those particular games. I think we're going to get some big boom weeks. So
and he's cheap enough that you could have him as like your QB1 of a 3 QB build where you have like, Justin Fields, Michael Penix, Geno Smith or something like that. And that's a completely fine quarterback room or maybe it's like Justin Fields, Drake May and Geno Smith. And then it's like, holy shit, this is pretty strong and didn't have to spend a ton of draft capital on it.
I don't know when it happened exactly, but sometime between the 2024 season and this 2025 season, I've been 3 QB pilled. I was a 60% 2 QB and 40% 3 QB based on last year's Best Ball Manias. This year, I can already tell I'm like 70, maybe 75% 3 QB. And I think it's just because the QB pocket, that round, 9, 10, 11, 12 range, it's so easy to take a bunch of guys there that stack up nicely if you plan for it. And the other alternatives at wide receiver are terrible at that point. And, it just seems like a natural place on the board to strike the QB position.
Yeah, where those guys are going, from like Fields to like Trevor Lawrence, it's kind of a wasteland for, running back and receiver. It's really more QB and tight end. You get some good tight ends in that area, whether it's somebody that you're slapping on as a second tight end to your elite tight end, like let's say like a McBride and a Andrews or something like that.
No doubt.
Have you been kind of going off of that? Like, have you been taking any of the elite quarterbacks, the Josh Allen, Lamar, Jaden Daniels? I know Hurts was falling for a little bit. That dynamic, I feel like, kind of pushes me away from taking those guys, even though I don't want 0 of them because of the weaker ceiling. But how have you been playing that?
I don't have a lot of those top, I'd say like 5 QB, maybe even more than that actually, just because I love the ones in that, Bo Nix, Kyler Murray, Caleb Williams, Brock Purdy, Drake May, just Justin Fields, just really excellent.
Mm-hmm. We're on the clock here. I'm going to switch back to ADP. I'm interested to get your thoughts on this turn pick, Greg. There's a number of, I think, good receiver options. We could try to double stack with Pickens. Cook is there.
Let's do Pickens.
Let's pull him up. I love it. I've got this like hit list of stacks that I want to get and have versions of for Best Ball Mania. And one that's one of the top 5 on my hit list is the CD Pickens double stack with Dak.
Cowboys passing offense go Burr.
Yes. I mean, their run game, and it's not looking that impressive. Their offensive line has seen better days. Maybe this is the return of Dak because he's always been a roller coaster of a production guy.
And if Kyer Elam is going to be a starter, then defense might be giving up a little, might be getting burned a little bit.
No doubt.
Yeah,
So-
I'm a Dak defender, so I
Yeah.
completely
He's
agree with
good.
that. Yeah,
He is good.
if he's not injured, he's good. So
Yeah.
Cook is there. It's almost 10 spots past ADP. Is this a range where you feel comfortable in taking him, or do you have him ranked pretty low?
I have him ranked a little bit lower, but I'd be fine with the ADP value here.
I have him ranked low as well. I probably prefer DK or Flowers, but what do you think we should do here?
Do we have any correlation? Let's do TK.
Let's do DK.
You can get
We didn't have a ton of correlation there. I was thinking about that as well. We were kind of in a spot where just take the best guy, and we still have plenty of time to figure it out. I think also with DK, sometimes I'm afraid to take him just because of the lack of a stacking option. But I think with the way we've built so far around potential Dak and Fields outs, we don't have to worry too much about who's the Steelers quarterback.
right, and then it's easy to pick up, week 17 correlation later for Pittsburgh. There's quite a few, I feel, values for the Browns.
Yeah.
Players, Jerry Jeudy. I think Tillman could be pretty nice value where he's going now.
You're right. There's some teams like the Browns where if you're in on them, if you think they're undervalued, you can almost always get them. You can almost always get Jerry Jeudy. You can definitely always get Tillman if you're high on him. I also think, and obviously the Saints are kind of in potentially a rough spot. We'll see. It's hard to always know, but if you're high on Kamara, you can get him every single draft. He's not overly priced if you're in on him. I think Olave in a similar way. Guys that have been great for fantasy for years, but maybe we're putting too much fear into the unknown.
Yeah, I like Olave a lot. Kellen Moore is, I wouldn't say like obsessed with Chris Olave, but very, very high on him. And sounds like a guy that they really want to use a ton and kind of move around and get him in advantageous situations. So
yeah,
just feel like he should probably be over the concussion stuff. Now, whether there's sort of a mental hurdle to clear when he's on the field and taking hits. But I think it's a good price. He's an excellent player.
Yeah, he was a second-round pick last year, right? And now it's just kind of the last thing that happened. Obviously, the concussion stuff is scary, but we've seen lots of guys where they kind of are out for one season, they get multiple concussions, and they come back and they're just like completely fine after that.
It's you burned me last year. I'm not comfortable drafting you.
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see him like is Olave that much different than like DJ Moore, Devonta Smith, Jameson Willie, right? Like I think they're pretty similar bets, and he goes right.
Well, I think the QB play is the difference between.
True. And you don't know who to stat. Well, I guess maybe it's Shuck now, but yeah.
Yep. I think you said with Kellen Moore, he might not be obsessed with Olave. He might not have Olave as his phone background, but he's definitely texting him, after practice saying, hey, do you want to get some extra film study in? So he definitely likes them. They're definitely on probably a text basis if I had to guess. Greg, who are you really into in this kind of mid-early range? Because I think of rounds 6 and 7 as if you take a stand on players, you, like I was saying, you can get a lot of guys. You mentioned Olave. I didn't see him go off the board yet, but he's probably going to come up real soon. And I'd be lucky if I don't think I've seen him fall to 70 very often. But players in this range that you think are just kind of maybe criminally undervalued right now.
There's a good deal in this range where I'm just kind of playing the ADP value game where I like a lot of these guys, and it's okay. Let me look at my exposures and let me look at this ADP value. But I think Chris Olave is certainly a guy who could end the year as top 24 receiver and being drafted way after that. I think the San Francisco guys are super interesting. I'm completely fine on taking, what some might perceive as a risk on Brandon Ayuk. I don't really care if he. Okay, we're on the clock here.
Do we want to go Judy here to get a little week 17 with Pittsburgh and anything else?
Yeah, Judy sounds good.
Judy sounds good to me too. It's kind of a bummer. Olave went one pick before us, and it would have been a nice scoop there. But I think of Judy and Olave in a similar way, where these guys could be the wide receiver 1 on week 17. It's possible. It's not out of the realm of a possibility. And so I want guys like that on a team where I'm trying to win 1 week at the end of the season for all of the glory, right? Do you think we pivot here back to a running back, or do we keep this receiver train going?
Let's do a running back here, and we could, either one of these guys gives us a stack.
I'll give it to you as the guest. I'm equally in on both Judkins and Johnson. I like them both.
Let's do a Judkins.
Perfect.
Nice.
Perfect call. I'm a big Judkins fan. I love his power running style, his true breakout as a freshman at Ole Miss. He likes to toss guys into the shadow realm. And I think he's got that aggressive running back style that, hopefully the Browns aren't in a spot where he can't benefit from, his talent can't overcompensate enough for me, a team that's in a tough spot. I think of guys like RJ Harvey that landed in my mind, a smash spot, right? One of the best run blocking offensive lines, great coaching, and an offense that's going to move the ball. I regret that Quinshawn didn't get a position maybe as good as that on the Browns, but I'm still holding out hope that he can do something in his rookie season. Yeah,
I would say for the Browns, if we're looking through an optimistic lens, you could say, okay, their play caller is Kevin Stefanski, in a 2-time head coach of the year. Pretty smart guy, very good offensive play caller. Sorry, I just completely lost my train of thought on that. But yeah, I mean, Stefanski, good situation. Oh, the other thing is they have 4 kind of like whatever quarterbacks, but I mean, can't he make one of these guys work? Like, they're not 4 completely like Trevor Siemian level quarterbacks. I mean, one's a guy that won comeback player of the year a couple seasons ago. Now he looked bad last year, so that's not great. But then you have Dylan Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders, Kenny Pickett, who hasn't been great in the NFL, but has won some games, has been serviceable at times, and maybe Kevin Stefanski can get a little bit more out of Kenny Pickett than they did in Pittsburgh.
I think something will come together. It's hard to know who it will be, but I think you're right. Having confidence that they'll figure it out. They've got the right coach that maybe can solve that puzzle. Yes, Flacco's getting up there, but former Super Bowl MVP, right? And then you've got Dylan Gabriel, who was, I think, 3rd in Heisman voting and had a great season at Oregon. They were prolific in college football, and he seems like a smart, capable guy. Can he take the step forward in the NFL? Maybe. Shedeur Sanders was very accurate and everything that goes along with him. And then you have Kenny Pickett, and he wears 2 gloves. So any of those guys, it could work. You never know what's going to take it across the threshold. But I think the Browns, maybe they'll surprise a little bit. It is somewhat of a tough division, though, as every year in the AFC North. It's not the easiest one to come out on top, but the Browns have been competitive, right? They've not always been down so bad.
And I think there's some level of floor that comes with having 4 guys, right? It's not what they have had behind Deshaun Watson outside of Flacco, where it's just kind of like absolute nobodies, where you're just kind of struggling to put together an NFL offense. So I think that is at least bullish, right? Like, you'll have somebody who can at least run an NFL offense. And also to the
yeah.
chat, I just want to say I am not in a storage container being held against my will. I am on my balcony. I had to, this is my pivot spot when I need to give the lady her workspace. She's a lawyer, so she has to be deep in the grind sometimes. So
Respect
yes,
the grind.
I am safe and sound. So don't put out an Amber Alert or anything for me. So
She put your ass on the balcony, Bindles.
Bindles, this is the Ballsy show. You're supposed to be smoking your stogies inside, and you're 2 weeks in a row you're on the balcony. You're not.
This show is so alpha that Chris advertises it as Central Time.
Yes.
as Neil Orfield says, real America time, but I will push back against that.
Oh, Neil.
Such a power move. Such an alpha move. You guys figure it out. I'm on Central Time.
Come on, guys. It's easy. Everyone knows it. We're back on the clock.
Yeah. I'm feeling Justin Fields here.
Hell yeah.
I think that's the clear choice. We could push it. Mom Pants took Jalen Hurts, and I don't know. It might not be worth
push it.
Let's be ballsy and push it.
Would you go with one of these running backs just to secure him, or do we need the receiver? What do you guys want to do?
Running back.
Mason or Scatterboot?
Scatterboot for me, but
my bad. I snuck a Mason in there.
It's all right.
Central Time is a government conspiracy. It's not real.
That's also true.
Central to whom? Not me.
No doubt. Central to what? At least if you're Pacific Time, there's something over there. There's a definite end to where that time is located.
Mountain Time sounds cool, but Valley Time sounds incredible. How is there not a Valley Time?
Valley Times seems like the time zone that's just always behind everyone else's. It's just Valley Time. You're just showing up late. That's what it sounds like to me. So obviously we go Justin Fields here then.
Yeah, let's rip it.
Yeah, that's a fun pick. We lined it up, and we're in the perfect spot to get Justin Fields stacked up with Garrett Wilson. Greg, I'd love for you to give us a quick team review to catch up everyone with our picks so far.
Yeah, so QB, we got Justin Fields. And at running back, we have Bucky Irving, Quinshawn Judkins, and Jordan Mason. At wide receiver, CeeDee Lamb, Garrett Wilson, George Pickens, DK Metcalf, and Jerry Jeudy. Got our Garrett Wilson stacked up with Justin Fields. We have Quinshawn Judkins and Jerry Jeudy, week 17 correlation with DK Metcalf, and obviously have the CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens team stack here.
Yeah, feels pretty good so far. I like it. Yeah.
I always feel good starting off with a number of receivers, the kind of way we did it. Like I was saying earlier, then you can really hammer QB options in this middle range. One thing I've noticed, although I have been going a little bit RB heavier than I did last year, as kind of a true zero RB hero RB bro. This year I have mixed in some more running backs depending on what side of the board I'm on. I think it also can kind of lean you one way. But I wanted to ask you, Greg, have you drafted a single team yet where you didn't like your tight end room?
Yeah, I have. You know what? Let me
because it's hard to do. I think it's honestly hard to do, but I think I've done it once. Out of a number of drafts that I've done, I've had one true tight end room where I said, I could have done better than that. The rest of them feel pretty decent.
I think it involved Ertz, maybe. Let me try and find it here. I did also do one in, I believe this was in one of my 11 Gilbert Arenas drafts, where I forgot I had taken Trey McBride and I drafted George Kittle, but that team actually ended up being pretty nice. Even though I spent that draft capital on those two
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's not like impossible to, right? Like if you feel like you can land the plane after it, I don't think it's the worst thing ever. It's obviously you don't want to like be super overweight on those builds, but yeah, those guys could both just smash, and you could be feeling absolutely fine.
Yeah. You know what? Actually, I think all these tight end rooms look pretty good. I think I did a good job. I think I nailed it.
Ooh, we got Njoku going early.
Some people are in on Njoku. He does seem like a nice value. I would say Mark Andrews similarly a very nice value in this range. Coming off an 11 touchdown season, the touchdown streak to end it, the Ravens offense, I mean, there's a lot of injuries and other things that maybe slowed him down last season. The Ravens didn't really, other than bringing on Derrick Henry, and that being a big change to their offense last season, I don't see that much change coming into this season. So I feel like the Ravens are kind of running it back.
Yeah. I mean, Ravens offense is going to be a buzzsaw this year. Todd Monken talking about, hey, we want to put more on Lamar's plate in year 3 of this system. And we know that he is capable of handling that.
Absolutely electric. Yeah. Yeah. No, I wanted to, the reason I brought up Njoku was because I wanted to take him on this team.
Could have been fun.
He usually falls. I think his ADP is significantly farther back than that. So I was a little.
Yeah, he's been going I've seen him in the 130s.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think his ADP had been like 129 or something.
Something around there. Right. Yeah. So I was feeling like this was going to come together really nicely with maybe a Dak click and then Njoku as our first tight end. But okay, so looks like we got Dak here. We could pair him up with CD and Pickens if we wanted to do that. We could also push it and take someone else here. Loveland.
Mom Pants on the turn is almost certainly taking a running back, and I strongly doubt he would take Dak. I think we can push Dak and feel all right with it.
Yeah.
Is there a spot we want to go here, Greg?
I like Loveland.
Okay.
Let's do Loveland.
I'm weighing on Loveland. I think he is the future of the tight end position.
Immediate weapon for the Bears. Immediate.
Worst case scenario, if we get sniped on Dak, I think we're playing the risky game. It's not impossible to have the headless team stack with the 2 receivers and still benefit from Dak having a good year. If anyone could outscore Dak going off, it would be a rushing upside QB like a Justin Fields. So we're covered, but we didn't have to sweat it for too long. Dak is there. Easy click.
Yep.
Now, how do you feel about 2 QB versus 3 QB when you have Fields and Dak?
So this is a great question and a great situation to be in. I tend to now play the ADP game, understanding where we are in the draft capital curve and how, later on, if let's look at our top receivers, I mean, we've got them all stacked pretty well, and it's pretty ambiguous who would be the QB for in Pittsburgh or in Cleveland. But let's just say we're in a situation and there's a QB 25, 30 picks past ADP, like someone that's easier to backstack, maybe Bryce Young. Maybe we scoop him up because a Bryce Young, 3 rounds past ADP is unique and valuable. And that's kind of what I'm thinking. So we don't have to force a 3 QB situation. We might stumble into a really nice one. We have the privilege to kind of push the rest of the QBs and make everyone else forced to take them before we get a great value.
Yeah, I like that because if you're scooping that ADP value, then you've gotten kind of the necessary stuff that you need at the other positions in those spots where you would have been taking them at their normal ADP.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, just
go ahead.
With the construction of this team.
Yes.
With CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens, like if those guys are both hitting, like Dak is hitting,
right?
If they're not, or like basically if Dak's not hitting, this team's in trouble.
And I think we've done a good job so far. We didn't force the week 17 team stacks, but for some reason, if the Dak Cowboys play gets us along to advance out of week 14 to the playoffs. And all of a sudden, wow, we find ourselves in this finals. We have bets on more than one game. So far, we're making a strong bet on the Cowboys. We'll find a way to bring it back with some Commanders, but we've also made a big bet on this Cleveland-Pittsburgh game, which admittedly might not be the most attractive from today's perspective, but in the future, it's still another game where we're heavily invested. And then I think there's some opportunities to continue to build out around this Jets-New England game. Might be another way to pivot from the Dak Cowboys position we took.
Yeah, for sure.
And then we've got Bucky. So, I mean, who isn't confident about Bucky in year 2? I think he's one of my favorite picks in the second round. If you can get him with a nice receiver in the first round, it feels really good.
Yeah, their offensive coordinator, Josh Grizzard, said it's going to look pretty much the same way that it did at the end of last season.
Yeah.
Look at the end of last season. Bucky was smashing with, 15, 17, 20 touches per game. That sounds pretty good at the end of the second round.
Definitely. Yeah, that's an interesting one. The question just came up that I had thought about earlier, Greg, and I wanted to ask you is, have any NFL coaches or staffers or NFL teams, organizations reached out to the Coachspeak Index?
I have a lot who are following the Coachspeak Index on Twitter. Several members of the San Francisco 49ers follow the Coachspeak Index. The communications director, I believe, for the Commanders. A lot of just like scouts on different teams follow our Twitter account. Yeah, it's a good deal. It's a good deal of teams. I expect at some point maybe we'll end up licensing. I have a document of poker tells on these coaches, and that's something that I just can't publicly release because the edge is gone as soon as you do that.
Sure.
But that's super interesting.
The team, yeah.
I kind of picked that up just hearing you talk, is that you can kind of, maybe it's you, maybe it's part of your team as well, but you kind of have a sense of people's tells or their expression. And we can get more into that after these picks, but it's something else I wanted to understand and ask you about. We could go back to running back. We feel pretty strong at receiver.
I like Tyjae Spears a lot here at this ADP.
Okay. Yeah.
I think it's a good spot. We get a nice little value on him. Let's go ahead and grab him here. Mom Pants is behind at running back, so we're not going to let him get the Spears. We're going to take advantage of that one. It seems like it could be, that they might not be giving Pollard as much of a heavy workload. They could split it to Spears a little bit. We saw Spears have a good end to the season, right? So,
yeah, I think with Spears, it's a lot of it is just about his health, like how healthy he can stay. So far, it doesn't seem great. They didn't want to run Pollard into the ground at the rate that they did last season. I mean, he wasn't able to practice during the week, and they just roll him out on game day. Like, they don't want that to happen again with Pollard.
That makes sense. And, Pollard's getting up there in touches. He's been carrying a big workload for a few seasons now. By ADP, these are our options. It could be Eckler for the bring back, could be nice. I think Goddard's undervalued, could be fun too.
I kind of love just doing a super stack with Ferguson.
I'm open to it.
Yeah.
Should we do that? Let's click that way and just, hey, we are the Dallas Cowboys.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do it. And then that also gives us an out to say, you know what? 2 tight ends. I think it's super easy to get a third tight end later. There's cheap guys. They're all pretty easy to grab later in round 17-ish, 16, 17. Usually guys fall that are on still good offenses. But we now have that strength of saying we could be done at 2 QBs. We could be done at 2 tight ends. Let's stack on any running back or wide receiver fallers that come our way.
Yeah, that's an interesting decision point with kind of both Ferguson and Goddard being there, with kind of obviously one adding on to our double stack and then one kind of being the bring back. Do you normally kind of go with that, just building out the bet on the Dallas there, Greg, or like just case by case basis?
Case by case. In this case, with us having Lamb and Pickens, like let's just do an onslaught and bet on Dallas being, the league's best passing offense, or like a top 3 or 5 passing offense.
Yeah, maybe in this universe they forget how to run the ball, and they have the league low rushing attempts, and it's all Dak's arm all day long, and he goes and pushes for MVP, and it's, hey, that shuts up all the Cowboys fans who have been calling for Dak's head for the last 3 or 4 years. Every time Dak gets injured, I feel like the Cowboys give up on him, and I just don't understand being in Houston with the Texans and being a loyal fan to them. Try not to be a homer, but I know how hard it is to find a franchise quarterback. It's only happened twice, maybe this is the 3rd time in the entire history of the Texans organization. And so I feel like you can't give up on a guy like Dak when you struck gold on I think it was a 3rd, 4th rounder out of Mississippi State, right? And he's proven his weight in gold kind of thing. And you just don't give up on those guys. I get there's injuries, but he's the kind of quarterback, I think Bindles was saying earlier, that you can get behind him and he can put up big numbers. I think he can still do it.
Yeah, for sure. He's got multiple very good pass catchers now.
That was a shocker, the Pickens trade. I mean, did anyone see that coming? To me, it was very attractive to being like, wow, this is going to be a good bounce back for Dak.
Yeah, didn't really see it from Dallas. Obviously, there's speculation that maybe the Steelers would move Pickens, especially after they traded for DK Metcalf.
Yeah. That was also kind of surprising how quickly that Seattle team unraveled, where bye-bye Geno Smith, see ya, DK. JSN is like the Will Smith meme where he's looking around in the living room like, where'd everyone go? He's kind of left there, and then hello Sam Darnold, and
Geno Smith wouldn't even counter their offer. They made him an offer. He's like, no.
He's like, no way.
On to greener pastures, I guess.
I want out.
Yeah.
We got a chat from a chat favorite, D. Latumsky. He says, Greg, do you play poker at a high level? Kind of pivoting off of the poker tells with the teams, which we can get back into.
Oh, let's go back to that. Yeah.
Yeah. I started playing poker in college in like 2002 or so, like right around the big in the aftermath of the Chris Moneymaker kind of poker boom, and ended up making some like really incredible friends out of that, who I still keep in touch with. One of them is I don't know if you guys know who John Turner is. Pearl Jammed was a big online player, and also a lot of just regular tournament live tournament scores. But played poker for a long time, and then one night for a local poker game, they're like, we don't have a dealer. Like, Greg, could you deal? And okay, sorry, we're on the clock here.
Sorry to interrupt. We Ertz could be an interesting bring back. We don't have to force the 3 tight end thing. Tillman is there at a nice little value, and I think, Greg, you were mentioning earlier, you're kind of in on him. We've got some Browns already.
I don't want to go too heavy on the Browns. I like Knoll here. Jalen Knoll.
Yeah,
like we have enough of these kind of veteran chaperones on this team that could usher Jalen Knoll into a later part of the season where maybe he has overtaken Christian Kirk in that slot role for the Texans.
Totally agree. Interesting. Mom Pants goes double
backs looking like here.
Yeah.
Jalen writes we got a mini with Bucky Irving there, week 17. I don't know if there's anything else that pushes anyone anyway. Yeah, there's nothing super crazy here.
Yeah.
How do you feel, Greg? Do we need to bring back with Ertz?
And Jalen Wright.
Yeah,
Jalen Wright.
Jalen Wright.
Yeah,
let's do it. I'm open to it. I want to learn more about why people are in on Jalen Wright. I just felt like I didn't see a whole lot out of him last
Yeah.
season. I was pretty high on him coming out of Tennessee, and I was hopeful, and then he didn't do a whole lot. I get the Dolphins kind of had a weird year, but then now there's Madison there, there's Ollie Gordon there, and I just don't know what to think. And I've always believed that Achane was kind of the guy. So I'm interested to know your thoughts on Wright too. But first, let's finish your story. You were getting into a really good part of your poker story.
Yeah. So I started. So I dealt, and pretty good dealer, really good at focusing the action, making sure people knew the action was on them, just kind of like coordinating things. Same as if I'm like maybe playing Warzone or whatever. I'm just pretty good at coordinating everybody, getting everybody on the same page, making sure people are focused. And obviously I'd played poker for a while. So, as a dealer, you just really have to know the game, and the more you know the game, the more it helps you. And I was like, damn, this is pretty nice, because you get tipped, and I also got paid hourly. It was like, this is guaranteed money every night. Like, the amount of money I make as a dealer, you'd be like pretty happy with as a player. And then as the games got bigger in the area, of course, that like you're making even more, to where, like $400 is like a really bad night. So that was pretty nice. So I dealt a ton. So dealt like tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of hands, but played online, like a lot of just kind of tournaments, sit and goes online for a while. I'll play kind of recreationally, just kind of like non-tournament, just a cash game. I cash games, I just hate sitting down for 6, 7, 8 hours, whatever. Like, people who are playing for, I've dealt to people who played for like 72 hours straight. Like, that's
Wow.
sickening.
That's nuts. Yeah.
True degen behavior. The real sickos. Those are the guys we need in the best ball streets.
Yeah. It's a lot of time.
Wow.
Invested in the poker world as a player,
cool.
And a dealer. Yeah.
Bindles, I have a question for you. Something my dad once told me. Do you know how to guarantee to make money at the casino?
Don't walk in. I have no idea.
You start working there.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yep. And I think it's interesting. I was talking about this recently with some other people. There's a lot of crossover in the poker world and best ball, and it's a lot of game theory and strategy, and people who like to think about possibilities and outcomes. And so it's a fun little crossover. That's cool to hear, Greg. And thanks for sharing that kind of your background. We're about to get into our next pick. And then I think we got another question from David in the chat. It's kind of a follow-up on that piece. We've built out a really nice squad so far, 2-5-6-2. We're not cornered into anything. We can make any pick we want. The running backs might be a spot to come back to. I'm not super worried about the buys yet, but we've got 5 guys we feel good about. We've got 6 receivers that I think are really strong. I think our next 2 picks, it's our choice. We can go any direction with it.
Okay. Man, I kind of love Jalen Coker.
I think Coker could be a nice option.
I mean, Brown would be an option.
I'm not crazy about Douglas, but he would be a bring back. I just know it's kind of a weird receiver room.
Yeah, I don't love Douglas there.
Let's go Coker. Yeah.
What about Keenan Allen? No.
Man,
Coker's got the talent.
Yeah, he has a lot of, like, what if 35-year-old Adam Thielen looks like a 35-year-old wide receiver this year? What if, just indulge me for a second, what if 35-year-old Adam Thielen hits the age cliff in 2025?
Coker really reminds me of Jacoby Myers. It's similar build, like both kind of bigger, kind of inside outside type guys. We saw Coker kind of do that last year.
Yeah.
Both undrafted guy. I believe Coker was undrafted, right?
He was. Yeah, out of Holy Cross.
I just think he's just too talented to keep off the field. And yeah, like his cost now is so depressed because they brought in Tat that I like that pick.
Bet on the young
by Greg
talent. I
there,
think you guys have steered me in the right direction. We're going to be back on the clock here.
Are we going
2572. Let's just take a peek at the QBs. I don't think there's anything there we need.
No.
Peek at the tight ends. I wouldn't force one of them either unless there's someone you're crazy about, but it's probably a running back or a receiver here. We can kind of
Let's
do
do
either
running
one.
back.
Do a running back?
Yeah. What about Rashard Smith?
Yeah, I'm open to it. Who knows what's going to happen with KC?
Back build.
I think we have the spot here with the 5 guys we have to take an upside shot. So
Yeah, I think I
Totally.
think it's just a good opportunity to take that kind of shot.
that kind of Jerick McKinnon type role, pass catching running back on the Chiefs is always super valuable. So if he does sneak into that, I think that we're going to feel real good about taking him this late. So
I like the picks that we've started to make with these since Jake Ferguson, rookie, a second-year guy, another second-year guy, another rookie. We're making kind of bets for later in the season. We really do have a strong core around the wide receivers that are mostly veterans that are going to carry our team. You know, if those are the receivers you need to win, we've got it. Now we need some other pieces that can give us some differentiation, I think.
And I think Coker has multiple outs with Adam Thielen's age. What if we just see a decline? If we see a decline in Adam Thielen, Dave Canales is not going to keep him on the field. Dave Canales is 1,000% about whatever is going to help his team win. He doesn't care. We saw them pull the plug so quickly on Bryce Young last season because he thought Andy Dalton gives us the best chance to win. So
good point. Yeah.
There's Adam Thielen declining. There's Adam Thielen injury. And then there's just, what if Adam Thielen doesn't even decline, but Jalen Coker takes like a big second year leap? I mean, this guy has things that you can't teach with his, body composition and all that. Like Bindles mentioned, he's able to play inside and outside. Having that kind of guy, being able to move him inside as like a big slot every once in a while, a guy that can win inside and he can win on those out routes, start him in the slot and then run him out. Like, you can do a lot of different things with him. He can also just be, function in sort of a deeper down the field kind of third level role for you as well. So in a Dave Canales offense, with a guy going that late, I think he could pay off in a big way.
I like the pick. I like the insight you gave on that.
You just want to bet on good players, right? Like that's kind of what we're doing here this late. So So sorry, you can go back to
David asked follow-up question to Greg. Are you open to doing a paywall for the coaching tells?
Yeah, like I mentioned, a paywall would technically be private, but in a, I guess, like the most real sense, or as it applies to this situation, like it's public as soon as it gets released to even like one person.
Sure.
Really. Yeah. So that's something that I will, just like I mentioned, keep private and just license to an NFL team.
The secret sauce.
Yeah. Or maybe one day if I ever sell or walk away from Coachspeak Index, I'll just put it out there for everybody. But I imagine
mass hysteria
who would want to keep it for themselves.
Definitely.
The golden ticket.
2672. We can take any position here. We could take anything on the board. Do we grab Rodgers here and say, hey, he's the starter for the Steelers? We've got him with DK and we've got the bringbacks with Judy.
Let's look at our Quinton.
I'm sorry.
Look at our tight ends real quick.
Yes, we've got Ferguson and Loveland. We could tack on Jawan Johnson for a nice veteran piece.
Yeah, I'd like to do that.
You think that's our best bet? I like it because we don't really need anything else. The
I-
running backs, I don't know what else we'd gain. The receivers, obviously very strong.
Mhm.
Yeah, let's go, Juwan. I think he's been on two BBM winning teams. I don't know if it was
True.
back-to-back
wow.
years, but I think week 17 he was the tight end one, at least one of those years. So
Yeah, good tight end. Kellen Moore has been talking about him, saying that where it's kind of similar to the Ben Johnson, like where I've been in the past, this has happened. Where Kellen Moore says, like, where I've been in the past, like you've seen what I've done with tight ends, and talking about how Juwan Johnson offers them a vertical threat, and we saw that last season. You know, he see him with a lot of like 20, 30-yard kind of chunk gains, which is very nice to have as a tight end 3 in best ball.
He's explosive. He's reliable. He's a constant piece for that offense. They've got the issues with injuries at the tight end position in general. So I like it. I've been taking a good amount of Juwan Johnson, and I like to leave a spot open for him. I have been seeing people catch on a little bit and drafting him, but in this room we have, Arroyo and Gray going ahead of him, which I think is kind of not as good of a bet.
Yeah, I think it's a mistake, but just grab some Juwan Johnson in your other drafts, guys. Maybe they just have like 30% Juwan Johnson and they're trying to get that exposure down a little bit. Think, hey, well, I'll take a Arroyo.
Benefit of the doubt. Greg, I'd love for you to give us a swing through this squad that we drafted and give us just your quick thoughts on it.
Yeah. All right. QB, Justin Fields and Dak Prescott. I feel like those two guys should give us enough on a weekly basis. Justin Fields will be doing a lot with his legs. And then Dallas kind of opposite type offense, maybe, where they're not running a ton. They're throwing the hell out of the ball. Maybe that's why they brought George Pickens in with their quarterback, who has a history of just absolutely slinging it. And at running back, we got Bucky Irving, who we have some very nice coach speak on, Quinshon Judkins, who the Browns are talking about being a potential bell cow for them, and how he comes in the mold of Nick Chubb.
Yes.
Jordan Mason, Tyjae Spears got a nice ADP value on him. Jalen Wright gives us a little bring back for Bucky Irving in week 17. Rashard Smith is a nice RB6 kind of flyer for us. And at wide receiver, got CeeDee Lamb out of the 2 spot, then Garrett Wilson, and paired up George Pickens with CD. Then went DK Metcalf, Jerry Jeudy for a week 17 bring back on that. Jalen Noel for the Houston Texans, and making a bet here on Jalen Coker. Nice kind of almost luxury pick for this wide receiver room. And at tight end, Colston Loveland, Jake Ferguson finishes out a Dallas super stack, and Juwan Johnson.
Feels pretty strong.
It's a strong team.
It's a big bet on the Cowboys. We've got 2 RBs that can really hold it down. Bindles, your thoughts on this squad?
Yeah, I feel like it doesn't often happen where you kind of are there with the last few picks and just kind of feel like you can go any way. I think the way that we built it out, it really just gave us the flexibility to take what fell to us and take what we thought were the best upside shots late, and not feeling like we were forced into anything, which I think is always a good spot to be in. So, yeah, Greg is a sharp guy. I think he pushed us in a good direction. And I feel really, really good about this team. I think this might be my favorite one we've drafted on stream together yet. So
I think my only immediate regret is maybe instead of Brashard Smith going Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt.
Ooh.
Washington.
okay.
Yeah.
You think with B. Robin Eckler, he has a shot? I know there's been some good news on him coming out of the draft with the injury stuff, that he kind of went undervalued.
Yes, right. What wasn't really able to play this past season, and I don't think that was even an injury thing as much as it was like administrative
eligibility thing. Yeah,
that was weird.
Yeah. I mean, the draft capital isn't screaming like, hey, you got to load up on this guy. But I mean, but before the draft, like he was expected to go a little bit higher than this, I feel. And I know in the big board, you know, he definitely had a higher ADP. But I mean, just a good running back who I could see Dan Quinn liking. I think the only real not the only real question, but a big question with him is going to be how does he hold up in pass protection, which has been kind of one of his bigger weaknesses.
I think that could, you know, I'll have to keep that in mind. It's not a guy that I've clicked a bunch, but you're right. It would kind of nicely tie this team back together. I will say, anytime I can get my top wide receivers, especially ones I'm taking super early in the draft, stacked up with my QBs, it just feels really nice. It's a good way to build in general. It feels like it brings it all together. And when this Best Ball Mania 6 team ships it for the $2 million, we will celebrate by eating waffles at, I think it's at El Coyote. We'll have some margaritas too, and we'll celebrate.
Hell yeah, I'm in.
Perfect. Well, Greg, it's been a great time drafting with you on this Best Ball Mania. And thank you again for being our guest, our second ever guest on the Ballsy show. It's been fun getting the draft with you, get to know you a little bit. And you've got like Bindles was saying earlier, a very exciting week ahead. Please tell the people where they can find you, what you got going on, and all the good stuff.
Yeah, man. Thank you for the invite. This was a blast. This week on the channel on Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, going to be drafting with Field Yates. At 3:30 Eastern, going to be drafting with Justin Herzig. On Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern, we'll be drafting with Josh Norris. And at 3:30 p.m. Eastern, we'll be drafting with Adam Levitan. So go get subscribed to the Coachspeak Index YouTube channel. Going to rip some drafts with some industry giants this week. Obviously, follow the account. Most importantly, if you're playing fantasy for any amount of money or pride, you got to get into the Coachspeak Index Discord, which Chris pointed out, like just, I mean, levels and levels and levels and levels above the Twitter account. Every single important note from every single head coach, offensive coordinator, general manager, press conference is put into individual team threads, which comprises this like big database where you can go in and search. If you're thinking about how do I feel about Jordan Mason, how should I feel about ETN? Let me look and see what the coaching staffs have been saying about these guys. Just go type in their name and boom, you can see everything that's been said about them. It's awesome.
I'm obsessed. I'm glad I made the decision to commit to being a CSI agent. It's already, you know, something that I'm checking. I'm waiting for the next post. So I know you guys in the chat, if you're like me, you're gonna like it. You're gonna enjoy it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, Greg, thanks so much for hopping on. Yeah, been a huge fan of your work and just your personality. You're very you know, just cool guy, and I'm just glad we got to hang out with you.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Like I said, this was a blast. This was a great team and had a lot of fun hanging out here.
Perfect. Yeah. Awesome, man. And the Vape God hat, it is definitely a statement piece. It's
on the website. Go to click on merch.
Yes.
on coachspeakindex.com. It's in our merch store.
I think I got to get a Duval.
Duval shirt.
I think I need to get
I have one. I have one on the way. I'm a client of my own shop. I've got a Duval shirt that's in transit. Hoping to get it by Wednesday.
I was gonna say you got to rock that on stream. That's a absolute must have.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Perfect. So we're gonna wrap up that first segment. I'm gonna stick around and do another Best Ball Mania draft, but I think just want to check, Greg, you're gonna head out on that one.
Yeah, I got to take off, guys.
Perfect.
Thank you so much. Y'all have a great night. Peace.
Thanks, man.
Great one.
And Bindles.
Let me see. I might be able to stay. Give me a couple minutes. So why don't you vamp if you want to get in it, and either way you can rip it, and then I'll let you know if I'm coming back.
Perfect. Perfect timing. Boom. Guys, I'm going to be jumping into, let's think. Should we do 20-second? I'll leave it up to you guys. 20-second or 30-second? 20 or 30-second BBM? Question mark. I'm feeling like I'm in a best ball mania mood. We've maxed the pug. We've maxed the hound. We've maxed the schnauzer. We did the super flexes with Who Hames last night. David says 30. Reflect the sun with the 20. Copy paste dates with the 20. Let's get ballsy. Let's roll into a 20-second one. I'm gonna go ahead and join it in the next 5 seconds. As soon as I can click it, I'm gonna join a 20-second best ball mania. I just got into it. Waiting on 2. So if you want to get in, let's do it. I feel like I'm in that mindset right now. I can see the matrix. The drafts are just coming together. We filled it. We'll see if Bindles makes it back in. But until he comes back, let me flip it to the draft screen. Boop. There we go. How we doing tonight, guys? That was a fun first draft. Very good one. What up, Putt Daddy? Cody in here, guys. Streaming with Cody tomorrow night. Cody from Off the Schneid. We're going to rip another Best Ball Mania tomorrow night. Be there the normal time. Reflect the sun. We got David in here asking great questions for our guest, Greg. Appreciate that. Got Pat in here. Yes. What up, fellas? And then, yeah, go ahead. Find them on, you know them. You already follow Coachspeak Index on X. I know you do. Everyone does. You can find the links there. Like I said, I highly recommend it. I wouldn't recommend you guys anything I don't believe in. It's an edge. I know. I'm making better picks. I know what's going on in the flow of information. It's fun. It's a great thing that he's put together. I think it's really cool. What up, FK? Oh, look at this. We got Cody in this room. I just noticed Cody's in the 3 spot. I think that is Adam Levitan in the 6 spot. I think that is Adam's. I don't know. You guys let me know. Am I being trolled? Is somebody else Adam Levitan an underdog? I want to say that he is. So maybe he's chilling with us tonight. We got David in the 10th spot. I'm in the 9. Let's get into it. It was Free Duke Johnson. We were drafting with Ian Harditz. Maybe that was 2 nights ago. It's always fun to catch some people in the draft room. Sometimes late at night, you get to Best Ball Mania, you might run into someone you know. And then, of course, the whole thing around the fantasy best ball that Herzig put together. I just like looking at the list of names. I'm starting to get more and more familiar with everyone that's on there. Some of the names, obviously, we've known from Hit 'em with the Gritty through the best ball community and the lore and everything that's going on. So some of the guys we've known for a while, but a lot of guys in there that I had kind of casually seen in drafts and then never really put it together, put a face to the account. So it's just one more thing, I think, to bring us all together. I always wondered too, like, should Underdog have some kind of chat feature? But that's probably a little bit too far. I think you guys have mentioned that there's one for DK, isn't there? DK has like a chat feature. I think Underdog could have it where it's not necessarily a free text chat feature, but like a preset list of 100 different things you could say so that it's somewhat moderated. And that could be good. I don't know. Maybe they don't really care about that aspect of it. But boom, he's back. He's rocking the shades. He's looking ballsy. I think he's ready to get in on this draft and rip it.
Hey, yo.
How are you doing, Bindles?
I'm good, brother. You went CMC. I like it. That's ballsy right there. Dude, I've been buying a ton of CMC and Dynasty. I I think the dynasty market is lagging a little bit behind, and obviously there's different factors in dynasty as well. Let me get back to my point after our pick.
Oh, I missed you. Did chat? You must have done it from your phone. You said you're coming back.
I was like, I'm coming.
Oh, and we're on the clock at the 20-second clock. McConkey, London.
Let's go London.
I'm open to it. Let me go ahead and I should have done this last time too, but I forgot. I have it on all tournaments. I should have put it on Best Ball Mania, although I wasn't trying to stick to my exposures when we were drafting with the guests because I want to get their input, raw input and understand that they can get us off of some of my picks because I'm so biased to my own ranks. But now that it's this other draft, it is sometimes good to,
we got Adam Levitan in here.
I did notice that.
Is that actually him though? I wonder.
No, I think so. And I was asking the chat if they know better, but I think I've seen him drafting with that one. I think that is him.
Okay.
We could be trolled, Maybe this is a Checkers Liam situation. It could just be someone who's a fan.
It could be. Let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna tag him.
Bindles with the tags. I almost asked you a really dumb question. I almost said, Bindles, did you enter your 7 marathons for the promo? But I almost didn't. I almost stopped myself because I don't want to be rude, but I went ahead and said it anyways. But I know what the answer is. Sorry.
Nah, unfortunately not. I didn't make the drive to Buffalo. Although it's not that far. It's probably like 2 hours. If I were to leave really early in the morning, it's probably about 2 hours. It's not terrible. I could do a little Gretsch situation, get some fast drafts in, and then do some enter some slows. But
it's not terrible, but it's not something you want to admit to someone who's not in the best ball community because they will judge you for doing that.
You know what? Last year, when I started streaming, before I got my boy El Coach to be my co-host, I was considering doing a hotel trip and booking a room and bringing my girlfriend to go shopping or something, so she would leave me alone and just be able to rip kind of like how Davis Maddock and stuff where they do a 5 or 6 hour stream, just book a bunch of guests back to back and get my volume in that way. So we'll see. Maybe this summer if I'm feeling ballsy, I might make a little Buffalo trip.
Yeah, that's pretty degen to make a trip just to be drafting. But no, I get it though, because it's such an unfortunate situation that the drafting is not allowed or whatever you want to call it. It's not. So I would think Devontae or Kyron by my ranks. Plus we get the bring back with Drake London. It feels strong.
Yeah, let's go Devontae.
Yeah, I like Devontae, and Kyron is more likely to fall than Devontae is. Not that I expect him to, but it wouldn't be the first time I've seen Kyron going way later than he should. I'm not out on Kyron yet. I think he's like a touchdown machine. And maybe Jarquez complements him instead of cuts into his workload. Maybe it's not the end of the world for, his role.
I think he has enough, he can lose some work and still be a good pick. Because he just gets so much work, right? It's just what, 90% of the work, 85% of the work. So even if he drops down to 70% of the work, okay, we are back up here.
So by my ranks, it could be Kyron, JMO. ADP would say Kyron or Lamar are worthy.
I say we take the plunge on Kyron here. I think at the ADP value with kind of the Atlanta thing going on, I don't love Kyron, but I think that's the time you want to take him after Brees goes, with kind of the correlation piece in there as well. So you kind of get both ADP value and correlation there, where that's where I'm willing to take the players I'm not super, super high on. So
for my McCaffrey teams, I've done 2 of them. I don't believe I've taken London, so I haven't. So that's a nice little different start. Okay. Adams, I don't have Adams on there, and I want to say I don't have Kyron either. So this is a unique start to a Best Ball Mania for me, which doesn't hurt to. We're still early, so I'm not fixated on the portfolio aspect, but it's always something to keep in mind of, how can I build something that maybe is a little different.
Yeah, that's a really fun start. Like these guys all can score touchdowns, right, and give you big weeks. Like CMC, we know if he's healthy, $2,500 drafts. Oh, FFPC.
What up, Dale? Yeah, it's about the FFPC. I've never done it. Have you ever done an FFPC draft?
I have not. I was talking with Ferris. I'm not sure if I'll have the bankroll this year, but he went actually to Vegas with Jacob Sanderson and did an in-person FFPC draft.
Damn.
And I know like Ron Stewart, all those guys, Tress Liam, all those guys kind of do some FFPC drafts in August and early September. So yeah, definitely. If you got the bankroll for it, I feel like it's very fun format. It's very kind of slightly more boomer heavy, so I think you can build some really fun teams and obviously big payouts there as well. So
I guess I've been interested in getting into some because that's technically
redraft.
I'm sorry.
I think it's redraft, right?
Yeah, it's technically redraft, right? But it's what do you call it? High
stakes
redraft. But are they sit starts or are they best ball? I think there's two different versions, right? There's one that's
there's both. I think there's both. Yeah.
Yeah. I've only seen people do them on stream or talk about doing them in person. I haven't like created an account or anything, but I'm interested. I'm curious about it, but I just don't know if it's part of my strategy this year, like you were saying.
No, I don't think it's for everyone. You got to pick and choose your spots, right? Like,
but if someone was like, "Hey, let's build a team of 5 people and split this $2,000 team," it's like
exactly.
I'm starting to get more interested, but yeah,
exactly. I think it's one of those ones where you want to co-manage it with some other sharp people and split the cost.
But even then, it's hard to make your picks, and it's like, okay, we've got 1 minute to make a pick. Do we take, Lamar Jackson here, or do we not? And then you don't take him, and then you're like, oh, we should have taken him the whole time.
Well, in FFPC, you can redo your pick, so that is a nice thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they let you you can get your pick back. I don't think it's unlimited times. I think it's like once or twice.
So Kittle is a really rare fall this deep. It's not impossibly rare, but it's either him or Harvey. Since we've got Kyron, I'm leaning Kittle.
Let's go
with
Kittle,
McCaffrey.
dude. Yeah, this is a grown ass team. Like this is beautiful. I don't usually build teams like this either.
We'll have to figure it out at wide receiver, but I know we can get it done. And I like the receivers in the range for the next 2 picks even. I wanted to do a quick answer to David's question. What is the marathon promo? Check out the Underdog Drafts Twitter account. They said today, if you draft 7 marathons, $15 a piece, so it's $105. Quick math. 7 marathons before midnight Eastern this Wednesday, you get a $25 promo in your account, which is essentially one Best Ball Mania. You can enter them as slows. So I just got my payout from my advancing teams in the scramble. I had, the extra 105. I put it into slow marathons, which I might not have drafted the marathon otherwise, but now I've got 7 of them that I'm going to slow draft over the next 2 weeks, and I'm getting a free Best Ball Mania out of it. So Underdog doesn't give out a ton of promos. I like to hop on it when I can, but if you don't care about the marathon, it's probably not worth it.
Yeah.
I needed the push to do the marathon. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have done them. Or maybe I would have done 3. But now, I'll do 7 and get a Best Ball Mania out of it. Doesn't hurt.
Yeah, screw it.
I think we need a wide receiver here. I think Olave, unless we just we could really go hard and take Jennings and say that the 49ers are the team we need.
Let's go Olave. I feel like he's the perfect pick here for this kind of build too. We kind of, like I said before when we were with Greg, like I don't view Olave that obviously offense and quarterback concerns are the reason why he is pushed down, but
yeah,
I think he's not that much different than kind of even Pickens, DK, Sutton, all these guys, even a little bit higher than that. To me personally, I mean, it's probably a little bit of dynasty brain there, but
I'm in.
He's a good player, and obviously the situation does matter. The quarterback does matter, but kind of like we were talking about the end of the draft last time, you want to be betting on talent a lot of the time. Obviously, situation does matter, but this is a position where he's far enough down, pick 64, on a team where we need a wide receiver. Like that's the perfect wide receiver 3.
Definitely, I'm in on Olave. Time travel back a year, time travel back 2 years, and try to convince yourself to draft Juwan Jennings over Chris Olave. you would never do it, right? So just this big picture, how many seasons is Juwan Jennings going to pay off over Chris Olave? And maybe going forward, he does. I mean, he did break out last year, and he's part of a great offense. The wide receiver situation is a little bit up in the air with Pearsall seemingly injured already. Ayuk coming back from the injury. Is Juwan Jennings going to be the guy? I made a dynasty tweet earlier today. I wanted to get your thoughts on Jordan Watkins out of Ole Miss. He goes to the 49ers in the 4th round. Not a lot of people talking about him. Do you have any dynasty opinions on Jordan Watkins?
Not really, but
Okay.
I definitely think
Not really.
I definitely think anyone on the like there's a couple offenses where it's just like anyone I'm willing to just roster them and just pray because if they do get a shot, it's really worth something. So like the Miami running back room, like Alexander Madison, like people have been dropping him in Dynasty, and I'm just like, bro, he could be the RB2 there. Like I don't think he is, but like definitely San Francisco, I think, is definitely another one where it's just like anybody with a pulse that's on the starting roster, it gets a chance to play is valuable. So yeah, I definitely think he's worth slinging there on end of your bench in Dynasty for sure.
Well, I tried to add him to a taxi squad, and someone else had already picked him up, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, really? Someone was on it, and I looked a couple days ago. Ontario sucks, Bindles. I'm still saying you move to Alberta.
Well, I agree. I think Ontario does kind of suck. But you know, it is what it is. It's my current situation, so we'll see. My girlfriend also does not want to be in Ontario, but she just started working, so what can you do? I know you're a Mooney man, so I'm down to do that.
Is the Pollard value? Pearsall's there as well. People are afraid.
Let's go Pearsall. I think for the value, I'm not a huge Pearsall guy, but I think with the ADP value, with San Francisco and LA pieces, I'm willing to take the shot. I know you're not a big Pearsall guy, but
not. But I'm open to it just to make a good team, make a good build. Maybe this is the one where he does hit. Maybe we only need him for a little bit. It's a heavy 49ers team. It's a heavy Rams team. We've got London. I think there is I would say I'm going to put it at a 5% chance Mooney comes back around. I'm going to unstar him just because, we'll take a little heat off of it. But Cooper Kupp, I'm not out on him. I don't think he's washed. I think he's got enough. Even in his state, like the games he played last year, his per game scoring, he was better than a lot of the guys that are still available right now. And then Swift, I mean, not the worst pick either. I just don't know that we need the QB right here.
Yeah, I don't think so. We got some good late options.
Right.
Let's see. We're going to be back up at 88. Let's see what Latumsky does here.
So I knew he was going to do that. That's why I unstarred him. I knew he was going to do that.
Yeah, I like pretty much all these receivers. I'm going to be honest. I don't love Kupp. I pretty much would like anyone else other than him, but it's I'll defer to you.
Pittman, Egbuka, Higgins, name one.
Let's go Kupp. Let's go. All right, yeah.
Let's go.
I was gonna say we're building a different team. Maybe the Ricky, as Ricky's coming on late season, Kupp is dying, so we kind of get one good full season between both of them.
I will show you this and just and I would have liked Mooney there, of course. Maybe I don't think we could have. Maybe we could have pushed Pearsall because of the injury news, but I don't regret it. I think it's fine, and maybe Kupp's a good pair with him. This of course is his full point PPR fantasy points per game, but it's a 14.6 in the 12 games he played last year. In 12 games, 100 targets, 700 yards, 6 touchdowns. Of course, all on the Rams. So now he's in Seattle. Probably not going to do that, but for reference, let's look up what Pearsall did on the exact same, and he's in the same situation essentially. He's putting up 8 points a game. So, and maybe if we skew that to the back half, we could kind of skew it towards these games. He still has more zeros than he did games as a top 24 receiver. So That's Ricky Pearsall for you. Yeah. Sorry, okay. I tried to convince myself that Pearsall was good. I just remembered why I hate him, and I regret the pick.
You know what? Pearsall's one where like I'm not that into him personally, but enough smart people are in on him. So
Name one.
Mathology.
Okay,
No,
yeah,
number one BBM regular season of last year.
It is funny because like best ball is so different than redraft or dynasty. We're not saying that he has to be better at football or better at fantasy football than all the picks around him. He just needs to be a guy that works in a certain week or pays off enough. So it's like the best ball thinking is so different than the other formats. I try not to get wrapped up in, one player versus another head to head, because it really comes down to like what you need in a week. And obviously the positions are different. Like, how many times is Pearsall ever going to outscore Tony Pollard in a season? Never, literally never. But he could outscore him in week 17.
Yeah, it is. It's so much different. I think I heard you talking on one stream one night. I forget because you've been streaming so much which night it was. But yeah, it's like it is a completely different game. Like, I think there obviously is carryover in all formats, and like it's smart to kind of dabble in all of them because I think you can learn. But I think still people view best ball from like a redraft lens or a dynasty lens too much. So
do you want to double tap the QBs, or is there?
Yeah, let's do that. I'm down.
And Trey Harris is pretty nice. Do you want to take him also though?
I kind of feel like we go double quarterback. Well, we got other quarterbacks late, so yeah, let's go Trey Harris.
I didn't get it, but it's okay. We got Purdy. We'll just see. Yeah, damn, that's all right. We didn't need Trey Harris. It'd been kind of nice because it.
Yeah, upside shot there. That's okay. Well,
I forgot how many picks there were between us in the corner. I don't think it was worth risking Brock Purdy on this build, just because if there's even one person over here, I'd have to look. I probably could have planned that better, but
that's okay. No. I think it's a perfectly fine. We were obviously last second pivoted, but I feel perfectly fine making that click.
And honestly, Fields doesn't go, which is who I would have taken.
Yeah.
Preferably. Do we go running back though? I we're betting. No, we're double anchored down. We don't need a running back here.
I don't mind Sharbs. I kind of like Fields. Just and then we can tack on a third Penix or Stafford late.
Yep.
See if one falls to us.
Or last round Darnold if he's like completely last round. Or Shuck.
Dude, I don't hate it. We got options. So yeah, I like it though, because Purdy, I'm real into him this year. I just think any quarterback in that offense is going to absolutely cook. Trust me, I was the biggest Brock Purdy hater of all time. I had no shares of him in Dynasty. I hated him because the Lions lost to the 49ers in that NFC conference game. But I think just he's not just like Jimmy Garoppolo. Like he's not some Patrick Mahomes-esque quarterback, but he definitely is like can not only just run the system, but also elevate the system. And I think it's just going to be a big bounce back year for the 49ers. And we're betting on that with this team. So I think it's prudent to take him there. And then, Fields, and then paired with Fields where we just get the upside, rushing upside. We don't really care. I mean, obviously if you pair him with Wilson, that's ideal, but we can get a huge.
There's another option or two available. We can figure it out.
Yeah.
And the worst case scenario, unstacked Fields, and it's not that bad. And you figure out some Patriots bringbacks if you can get creative. Coolers wants to know your take on the Panthers, Mitchell Evans, who I didn't realize. I think he was that a third or fourth round pick? Fourth rounder?
I forget if it was third or fourth. I think it was fourth. But I mean, I think.
Let's do a quick research.
JT Sanders, I think he's fine.
Fifth round, but Notre Dame's a pretty high caliber program, and I do remember kind of liking, some of his production. I think in his last year, it wasn't terrible.
Yeah, I mean 6'5", 258, 4.78. That's right, like adequate size, adequate athleticism. So I think that's perfectly fine. Tommy Tremble is injured, so it's going to be him and JT Sanders. I'm not a huge JT Sanders guy. I know he's a Texas guy. He's small and not uber athletic. He's so I think that is kind of where I'm a little bit scared off, where it's like if the guy's really small, I want him to be just crazy athletic, or vice versa if he's a little bit bigger. But yeah, I don't think that's. I think it's a good taxi squad guy. Like rookie tight ends are such a good taxi squad hold. You don't have to worry
Gunnar
about
Helm.
Gunnar Helm, yeah, I've been scooping up a lot of him and put him on my taxi.
I think Ramondre makes a lot of sense on this one, but there's Tootin there.
I'm a Tootin guy, but if you want to push me off of it, that's
no.
your
I'm open to
prerogative.
go Tootin. I'm open to go Tootin. I don't think I should back off that pick just because we have a slight, lean to get more Patriots in this one. We don't have to have a Patriot on this team. It just, if it works out nicely for us, it could be fine. Tootin, we scooped him up there. I mean, I haven't seen Tootin go at pick 129 in a while.
Yeah.
Even right when the fumble news happened, he didn't necessarily immediately fall that far. So it's kind of a nice little scoop.
Yeah, there was Jacob Sanderson, who I had on a couple weeks ago, who is one of my go-tos. Like I trust Jacob almost over.
I saw that episode. It was a nice episode.
He tweeted, he quote tweeted the underdog tweet about the Travis Etienne stuff. He said, "Please more positive coach speak on Etienne. Let's get some on Bigsby too. BBM playoffs start in June and ending week 1, so this is very meaningful."
That's why Tootin just fell. It's the ETN. You just reminded me about that whole thing. Even though I literally asked Greg about the ETN situation, I didn't put it together yet. Interesting. Well, okay. Let's see who else is going to be there. David, you son of a bitch, you sniped us again with Stevenson this time and Mooney the last time.
He knows ball.
He knows ball.
Running back. Spears, this is above. You want to go Spears?
Or who else is available we like? Hollywood?
Yeah, I'd be fine with Hollywood. Yeah.
I'm open to it. I'd mix him in sometimes. I think our running back's strong enough where we didn't have to take a fourth yet.
Yeah,
but I would like to get another wide receiver, and at some point before the cliff comes, tiny value on Hollywood. We're really only asking him to hit our lineup like 2, maybe 3 times in the entire season.
Yeah, dude, it's a weird receiver room for how I don't usually take Pearsall, Cup, or Hollywood. But
so take them all on the same team.
I mean, hey, there you go. I mean, one of them has to hit, right? So that's really all we need.
That's the last thing that someone ever said when none of the receivers ever hit.
But no, I mean, I like the 6 I do like the 6 we have through 12 rounds.
Yeah, let's do I'll let you give me a little quick run through of this team.
Quarterback, we got Brock, Big Cock Purdy. We got Justin Fields. We got CMC. We got Kyron Williams. We got Bayshell Tootin. We got Drake London, Devontae Adams, week 17. Bring back there. Chris Olave, former second-round pick last year. Rizzy Pearsall, Cooper Kupp, Hollywood Brown, and George Kittle at tight end. Yeah, I like this team a lot. This is weird but fun. Like I don't usually build teams like this, but I feel really good about it. I think, yeah, we're strong at every position, and we're kind of how it played out last draft, where we kind of feel like we can kind of just take stuff as it falls to us. I feel like that's how I feel here as well. We got those 3 running backs. We could do 5 if we wanted to. Wide receiver, we conceivably could be done at 6. I don't think we probably will end up doing that, but we could.
What was our buy overlaps? Because I think we have an interesting spot where we could stop at 6.
I think we could, unless
it's
something
kind of
falls to
trendy.
us.
It's kind of trendy lately. I haven't actually watched the video. I think it's in reference to a Crane and Beimfor video where they were touting the 6 receiver stop, and then I think I saw Tyler Emo Cowboy drafting a 3.663 recently. I don't know where I saw him do that, but was that with BBG the other night? Was that?
Yeah, I didn't watch the full thing because I didn't have time, but I think you're right.
And then Gritty, who, shout out to Mike. He's sometimes in here watching and chilling with us. He drafted a 3.663 recently and put it on Twitter. So it's a very trendy, it won BBM4. It's a very trendy build right now. Let me know in the chat if you guys are doing it. We can grab Penix and just be so, so good in this
I
build.
say we push it one more, like around this turn.
Would you go Eckler then, or who would you take over him?
No, it's fine. Let's just go Penix.
Okay,
We don't have time. I was gonna say I don't know what other I don't know what is available here at tight end or anything.
Sorry,
else.
I could have flipped through it.
That's okay. No, you're
better.
fine.
I kind of secretly wanted to just get Penix though.
That's fine.
So maybe I was hiding the board from you, but the only thing about pushing him, I didn't do enough diligence to figure out if anyone had. Oh no, Mooney. David has Mooney, and he has one QB.
So he probably.
Oh, sorry, he has two. But still, he probably would have considered Mooney if I had to guess.
No, Letomsky said, "Good job." So I think he was going to take him. Yeah.
Oh, did he say I'm so far behind in the chat? But what else is new?
Yeah, he just said, "Good job." I would have took Penix. So okay, there you go. Your wish is came true and makes sense.
Purdy, Kittle, London Cup. Penix. There's some kind of story in there.
Some sort of dynasty team name you can make with that.
Purdy, Kittle, Penix, London Cup.
Okay, we're back up here. I don't mind Ferguson just being done at tight end. We don't have any correlation or anything, but Pat Bryant, I don't hate it. Rico.
I'm cool with it. It is 20 picks past ADP.
Yeah, I think that's where it's just we took Ferguson last time, like around ADP.
Yeah, but in a obviously in the Cowboys stack, but
yeah.
I'm not so out on Ferguson. I do think he's a little bit overpriced without the Dak stack, but that's exactly what we just did. Without the Dak stack, we got him at a better price. So I think this gives us the option to be done with 2 QBs. We're already done with the tight ends. We're already done with the 3 QBs. Now we're going to hammer running backs until we feel comfortable. Yep. And we've already decided we could just stop at 6 receivers, but we don't have to. There's obviously going to be receivers we might want to take round 17 or 18.
Yeah, dude. No, this is fun. I like that Ferg fell to us there because now I just don't think the running backs. I like Rico, but like all these running backs for the next 15 through 18, I don't view that differently.
Oh, me 100%.
And like you can make cases for later tight ends with Kittle, but I'm just in on Dallas this year. I don't particularly love Ferguson as a player, but just the situation.
2 good offenses. The 49ers with a big bet on them. And then, this little segue into the Cowboys is a nice offense. The Falcons, everyone's expecting big things, and Penix could just be him. London with the stack, it always feels good to bring back with Adams. And then we made another big bet on, I think I said it, the Rams and the 49ers. So the Rams.
Yeah. No, we got good teams.
Ooh, we don't have any Bears yet for our San Fran bring back. There's not really any Bears later on. Maybe that's a pick we could have considered at some point, but nothing was obvious for us.
Yeah. No, it's okay. We already have the Rams 49ers or Rams Atlanta, and
right.
It's okay. It doesn't always
we don't have to force it. I'm not like, okay, we don't have to take receiver early. I think receiver is one of our strong spots. Even though running back's honestly our strong spot too. We probably do need to go back to running back.
I think it's running back for a couple picks.
Ooh, here. Could it be Roshan here for the perfect bring back?
You want to do that over the ADP, or I guess he's above ADP and Rico. Yeah, let's go Roshan.
Technically, he's above Rico and ADP. I don't know when that happened, but Roshan's been rising, and we got a nice little value on him here.
There you go. No, I like it. I didn't realize their ADP was so his ADP was so high.
Well, what happened with Dowdles? He went from pick 1. If I remember correctly, I'm just kind of estimating, but he went from around the late 50s to now he's in the mid 70s. And then Roshan went from the 190s, whatever, to now he's kind of going in the 60s.
I mean, he's a good click until they sign someone else or whatever they do. He's a good click. And I mean, goal line work, he can play passing downs. So yeah, it's not a bad click at all. Okay, we're back up. I like Jalen Wright, probably.
He's there. Want to grab him? I'm open to it.
I just want to go running back here.
I'm open to it. I'm not as high on Wright, so I like that both you and Greg are getting me to make that click because I trust y'all's opinion. And so if I'm gonna expose myself to Wright, I need someone else to push me, in that direction because I'm just not really getting there on my own. And I don't know why, because I've always been bullish on Dolphins running backs.
Yeah, it's like Ollie Gordon and Madison.
They don't scare you at all.
No, it's not that they don't scare me. I just think Wright has just way more upside. Like Wright is super, super explosive.
Oh yeah.
And I'm a big Achane stan, but
yes,
I think he just this late, if he is the RB2, and I forget there was one game where Achane was out where Wright, I remember watching, I think in
week 4, I guess. No. I'm looking for it. I don't see a single game where Wright ever did anything.
Maybe I misremembered. Maybe it was the 8.6 right there that stood out for me. The 8.6.
The little 8.6 in full PPR where he had 86 yards. That really stood out for you.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that there's a lot of year 2 guys, running backs that don't really do anything the rookie year that just.
Let me put you on something. Okay, this is right. We like him. He's on a Dolphins. They run the ball. 68, 250, 3 receptions for 8 yards, and 3.7 a carry. So let me put you on to a little guy named Emmanuel Wilson on what we know is one of the best rushing offenses, one of the best running lines. 103, 500, 4.9, 11, 48, 5 touchdowns. Seems a lot sexier to me than a Jalen Wright, but
we got the comparable there. Zach Zenner, guest on the Tate cast with Davis Maddock, former Detroit Lion, as his comparable there.
I did see that. I watched that episode. I watched part of it. So I'm all that to say I'm in on Emmanuel Wilson.
Yeah, you want to go Wilson?
We don't have to take him here. He'll be no one ever takes him. I'm the only person drafting him, but we can go Dobbins, or unless you hate Dobbins.
I don't hate Dobbins. That's fine.
Because I'm thinking we do like a 3-6-7-2.
Yeah,
but that means there's no Emmanuel Wilson on this team if we just took Dobbins and we don't have to get Emmanuel Wilson. I've ranked him pretty aggressively because I believe that he could be a nice piece, and I'm overexposed to Lloyd at 11%, but I have 0% Wilson, which to me makes zero logic.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But it would be weird to take a 7th, like a 3-6-7-2. Not the weirdest, not the worst build, but it would be a little bit strange. I don't think there's any obvious tight ends for us to take. It could be Higbee or Ferguson. No, wait, Ferguson's gone. It'd have to be Higbee if we took another tight end, I think.
I don't think so. I think we go wide receiver probably, or will. Do you have you go with your guy? You go with your gut. I'll let you do whatever your heart desires. Boutte, I saw you pumping there was Coachspeak on him. I saw it.
I think he's a fine pick. We didn't end up stacking Fields, and it's not like we needed to bring back there, but I'll mix in some Boutte. I think he can do something. It's a pretty ambiguous situation. So maybe if he's actually talented, which we thought he was at LSU for a while, if he's actually talented, maybe he just kind of carves out a nicer role and does something. Not the worst production. Almost 600 yards, 3 touchdowns. He's above average, explosiveness, 11 explosive plays, yada, yada. But let's see what he did. Did he have any? And sorry for the bright mode. He had the one little nice game here against Buffalo where he got a lot of snaps, put up the 95 yards and a touchdown. So that kind of thing in week 16, 17, who knows? And then I think last year his snap share was pretty low most of the time, and then sometimes it was high and he didn't do much with it. Maybe he gets better rapport with Drake May. if we think about the Patriots depth chart, and maybe that pick should have been Ray McLeod or Tutu Atwell. I don't know if Atwell was still there I don't think he was, because I probably would have seen him.
Yeah. No, you can make the case, but I don't know. I like this build a lot. Like I think we had a little bit of a freebie pick there at the end. Also just got Jarquez Hunter 310 in a dynasty draft about.
Oh hell yeah! I love that.
10
He's like one of my favorite picks right now.
Yeah, dude. And it's funny because I feel like he was falling a little bit like at the very beginning of rookie drafts, like right when the NFL draft ended. And then I feel like he's been getting a little bit of steam. So he's been going, I mean, still like mid third, but I haven't seen him fall to 310 in like a month or so. So that's
nice. That's really nice. And then this was our 3, 6, 7, 2 with CMC is a good way to remember it. It's fine. I named them all different ways, but let's jump into this one. Just do a quick little look-see, and then I'm curious to see how Cody's team ended up, how Adam's team ended up, and how David's team ended up.
Yeah,
you said you tagged Leviton.
I tagged Leviton. I don't think he responded. Let's see.
Funny. You put it under the post as if he's like watching, and he's like, "Let me draft these guys."
I know he's not watching. I was like, maybe he'll see it.
He's probably sitting on the toilet drafting, and based on his what he says during his pods.
Well, he is a known sex haver, so you never know what he could be getting done with and hopping on a draft. So.
True. Perfect timing. Purdy, Fields, Penix. Yes, that gets it done. We have Purdy with McCaffrey.
Very nice.
Very nice. Pearsall and Kittle, which also seems pretty legit. We did end up getting a Bears bring back in Roschon. Why not? He had, 5-6 touchdowns last year.
Yeah.
We get Justin Fields essentially naked, but it's fine. And then Penix with London is a good one to go. We've got the Kyron and the Devontae bring back in that game. Tootin, upside pick at a value. There's starting to be some FUD around him. The Jalen Wright upside, I don't see it, but Bindles does, so I'll trust his opinion. And then Dobbins, I have a lot of. Maybe I haven't been taking Dobbins in these Best Ball Manias. That was probably my first or second one. But in all other tournaments, I have a ton of Dobbins, so it's about time for me to get some more Dobbins exposure. Maybe he ends up being a Bear too, and then Roschon's dead, but we got one of them right. I don't know.
Screw it.
Maybe he's a Texan, and it doesn't really get us that much. That's still fine, I guess.
There's outs. At pick 201, there's a lot of outs where he can give you something, right?
He's going to play.
And then we got Chris Olave here. No correlation there, but just a good click there at pick 65. We got, like we said, stacked Pearsall with Purdy, Cooper Kupp. Candyman is still in on him. 14.7.
I'm back in. I thought I was out. I had him ranked like 100 overall, and then I started looking at it, and I'm like, Pittman and Kupp. Why would I ever take some of these other guys ahead of them? The rookies you could make a case for. Mooney, I still like. The rookies like Trey Harris, they go a little bit later, so you can make a case for him. But I don't know. If we're still betting on Steph Diggs, why aren't we betting on like Pittman and Kupp? Pittman's not even that old, and then Kupp is a very similar bet to Diggs, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think for me, I don't know. I'm just really scared off of the Seattle offense this year.
That's true though. That's the main reason. They're going to run the ball a lot, aren't they?
I think they're going to run the ball a lot. Try to play defense. Their defense wasn't that great last year, but they have Mike McDonald, who is kind of a defensive savant. So I think
totally.
Second year in the system, I think they'll be pretty strong defensively. Trying to run the ball a lot with Walker and Sharps, and then Darnold will try to hold stuff together, but I just think it's a little fragile on offense, given those other, like if their defense was just really bad and you just say, okay, they're just going to chuck it and try to come back in games. But I think they're going to be in like these weird slog matches a lot. And it's just, and with Sam Darnold as the quarterback, I'm a little scared off. Even JSN, I recently sold a JSN. I actually have a,
Really?
after we go through this, I want to ask you your opinion on a trade I made.
Oh, definitely open to hearing it. Yeah, I think reflect this on. I could have done that. Who Hames was getting me on Ray McLeod recently. I'm not traditionally taking a lot of Ray. Yeah, we'll give David a quick sauce, very quick sauce. Might be his favorite BBM. Well, congrats. I'm glad we could help you in that way. I think that our team is good though. I like this team. It's fun. It's well correlated. We have big bets on good players. It's an elder team. We've got Kittle, Hollywood, Cup, Adams, McCaffrey, and then Young everywhere else. So
it's not like both. I feel like both these teams are not like typically how I end up building, or and there's some players that I don't typically end up taking, but I kind of like it.
I like it. Let's do a quick run through. We'll start with Cody's team. I'll take this one.
Yep.
3-5. So also, I apologize to everyone. We didn't pull off the 3-6-6-3. We're not going to be able to post this one to Twitter, but I do want to mix in some 3-6-6-3s. I wasn't fully kidding. I think it's very viable. You just got to do it right. We pretty much got there. Maybe we take a tight end over Butte there, and then that gives us. That's what it would have been to get there. And I just didn't see any tight ends that I loved remaining. I guess it would have been
Higbee probably
would have been Higbee at that point. So or Komet. Komet's not dead, but not the best pick.
No, it's not a terrible clip.
We'll run through these and we'll do your dynasty question and we'll keep it rolling. And then Bindles, I know you're on the East Coast, so it's getting late for you. So I want to respect your time as well. But I'm probably going to rip another draft. So just so y'all know in the chat, let's keep them rolling. But Bindles, no pressure. I know it's getting pretty late. But
I think I'm gonna hop off after we go through the teams and everything. But dude, go rip these drafts. It's a great night.
I said it earlier. I'm seeing the Matrix right now. Like if you got, I'm on one. I had like 6 cups of coffee today, and woo, I'm in. We're gonna draft. Feeling it, feeling good. Feel the rhythm, feel the waves.
You got to get juiced up on that coffee for the Coachspeak Index stream. That's it's a key right there.
Yeah, I always start my morning with 1 or 2 espressos, and then I get to my normal gig, and it's 1, 2, 3 cups of coffee, just whatever I can pour, and then so I guess that's 5, and then I hit some Aloha. Have you tried those Aloha drinks?
No, I don't even know what that is.
It's like this. There's another one too. They're kind of like the girlier looking canned caffeine drinks that have like 0 everything except for they're just caffeine and they're kind of like flavored.
Sure.
What's the other one is called? It doesn't matter, but there's like a few. This one's I think called Aloha, and it was cherry limeade flavored with 0 sugar, all this stuff, and tastes pretty good.
Nice. Yeah, if I told you the amount of caffeine I consume in a normal day, you'd probably be like, "How are you standing right now?" I'm all in on the caffeine train. Everyone should be caffeinated.
Yeah, I'm considering what I described to you. My 6 servings of caffeine today is kind of my middle low tier. I've tiered down. I used to be on the 1 to 2 full pots of coffee by myself, which is like 12 cups. Like I would do like 12 plus cups on some days when I need it. But anyways, I digress. Cody's team off the schneid. He's coming on the channel tomorrow. We're going to draft a BBM, at least one, if not more. We'll see. And so I'm psyched for that. And you guys know him. You guys love him. Let's check what his team is. He did a Dak Prescott. So we sniped him on Ferguson at some point. He's got McCarthy and Stroud, JT, Quinshawn, Spears, Braylon Allen, Estime. He's going for the bigger backs, the guys who can stiff arm you and throw you into the ground. I don't know. I'm not crazy about Braylon Allen and Estime, but that's just kind of me. But at that range, it's kind of like pick your guys, take guys you think can have a year 2 breakout. So I don't hate the picks at all. CeeDee Lamb stacked up, McLaurin bring back, the JMO, the Pickens stack, the Higgins stack, the Bird in Peace, the Yoshivas. That's a pretty sick receiver room, obviously, when you've got 6 out of the top 100. And then Laporta, didn't expect to see that on this team. That's kind of a nice surprise. Ertz, Schultz, why not? I'm starting to think, and nothing against the Schultz pick because I have way too much Schultz. I'm starting to think they're trying to not want to use Schultz as much. So I'm trying to find other clicks, but definitely when I have a CJ team, it's almost impossible to not grab Schultz. He's like practically free. Nice little value on CJ too. Let's jump. Oh, we got a comment. I had to take McCarthy where I did, unfortunately. Oh, I don't mind that at all. I mean, you had
I think the Detroit, it's a unstacked but bring back on Detroit.
I
Interesting.
still don't mind it. I think
I don't
McCarthy either pays off or he doesn't, and the pick between 123 and 137 won't make a difference. Like I'm all about like if you
McCarthy, yeah.
Yeah, if you have CeeDee Lamb and you told me you had to take Dak at pick, what would that be here? Pick, I guess it would be 99. I wouldn't flinch. I'd be like, yeah, maybe most of the time you get him at 118, but it's better to get him at 99 and make sure you have him than to miss out on Dak with CeeDee Lamb because I just unless you have a rushing QB like a Jaden Daniels or let's just say Hurts or like, obviously Lamar Jackson, it's hard for me to see a CeeDee Lamb team winning that doesn't have Dak.
He's just a good click. Like his ADP is still like kind of anchored because it was really low before, but like he should be if he was going at pick 99 ADP, I'd be fine clicking.
We'd still click him.
It's perfectly fine.
Oh, the Goff. Okay, I gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. No, I think this team plays though. I like it. I like the receiver strength, of course. Let's do a quick touch. I'll give this one to you, Bindles. I know you're pressed for time, but we'll rush through this one if you want to. We can just take it. I think this is Adam's team, and it's fun to review it as if it is, if it's not. But let's just see what he got.
Yeah, we got Josh Allen, elite quarterback there, paired with Tua, so that's perfectly fine. 2 QB room there. We got Achane paired up with Tua. We got James Cook for the Buffalo. We got Jalen Warren. We got Trey Benson, Tyler Algier. So that's a super strong running back room there, stopping at 5. I feel pretty good about that room, especially with the other correlation there. And then let's see the receivers. So we got Puka, no stacks or anything or correlation. We got Waddle paired up with Tua, Rome, Jacoby Myers, Michael Pittman, Darius Slayton, and Tutu Atwell. You know what? It's a perfectly fine receiver room. I don't find myself taking a ton of Rome or Pittman.
Curtis Samuel, whoa.
Oh, and Curtis Samuel. Whew, I didn't even see that. Interesting.
Why not though?
I mean, whatever. 18th round. Don't hate it. Yeah, it's a fine receiver room. You got some. You got the Tua stack, and then you just you got Puka, and you got some other guys that you can just whatever ping pong weeks. Nothing, no correlation or anything, but I don't hate it. And then Evan Ingram, Tyler Warren, Muth. So a strong 3 tight ends there. Yeah, I don't know. I wish there was a little more correlation on this team. I feel like that's the only thing. It's not the end of the world.
Maybe we screwed him because our team and David, we took all of the Falcons, and maybe he was digging for something to do with Puka, and then maybe he didn't get stat.
Yeah. No, it doesn't always play out the way you want it to, right? But no, I think it's still a well-constructed team. Yeah, it's still a well-constructed team in terms of draft capital allocation, everything. I feel pretty strong about all of the positions. So yeah, I mean, it's a live team. Didn't get as much correlation as I would love, but yeah, it's probably like a B-ish for me. Like it's strong team. Something could push it over the top. A little bit more correlation or ADP value there, but yeah, solid.
And then I am the KY. I am the Kentucky. And says, unless it's Lamb Milton, but that's how I know he's a Cowboys fan because every Cowboys fan hates Dak Prescott.
Yeah, I don't get that one. I'm sorry.
But no, maybe. I mean, probably not. Maybe though. But the Cowboys are notorious for trading draft picks for other people's reclaimed players. They did it with Mingo. They did it with Trey Lance. They did it with Milton. They did it with Javonte Williams. They keep giving away draft picks and taking reclaimed players that like people are trying to get rid of. It's kind of weird, but also like, yeah, I respect the opinion. Maybe it's Lamb Milton, but I don't know. And then Evan, what up, dog, says, I want to golf, so I took him. In your face, Cody. Let's see. I'm curious to see where Evan was on this one. Do
you take Amon-Ra? Is that? Oh, okay. He took Amon-Ra.
Oh, it's Beach Bum. I thought I recognized. I think I've seen Beach Bum in some of these drafts. Thanks for stopping in, man. Hope you're having a great night. He got the Jared Goff, of course, with his Amon-Ra. So
yeah, that's fine.
In your face, Cody. No, I'm just kidding.
You can't fault him for taking that. Yeah,
and he's taking Diami at a pretty nice clip too. So he's been rising. He's been a riser. I've been trying to get off the Diami click, but now that he's risen up, I probably will alternate to somebody else in kind of around 17, 18. Not because I don't like the Diami pick, but just because I was taking him kind of too often in round 18 when he was still free, maybe 17, but yada yada. And then I think that's. Oh no, we were just a quick look here at David's team.
Yeah,
he said it was really good. Lumsky. He said it was really good. A 2.583. We're gonna be extra harsh on this one because he sniped us a bunch. Although he wants the sauce, so maybe we just be nice to him so he doesn't get what he wants. Just like we couldn't get Mooney that we wanted, and we couldn't get somebody else that I had to forget about. But we did anticipate the Penix selection.
That's true. We did get we got him. I'm gonna get got, but I'm gonna get what's the, I can't remember the Marshawn Lynch quote. I can't quote it off the top of my head, but it's I know I'm gonna get got, but I'm gonna get mine more than I get got though.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah, I love it. Yeah, I used to take a shot at Hennessy before every game. They had Hennessy in the locker room. I was like, nope, I'm not my own. Peyton Manning, classic, that interview. Baker Mayfield, Justin Herbert, Genty, Henry, Hall. Wow, you're feeling
testosterone is flowing.
Every day is leg day. And then Pollard, and then Stevenson. I probably, honestly, I love it, but I would have stopped with 4 because this is the perfect excuse to stop with 4. But, maybe there's no good reason to stop with 4. Maybe that pick 135 wouldn't have gone anywhere else. There's no good receivers left then. The tight ends, meh. And then you already had your QBs at that point. So let's just see how it ends out. I would have liked Stevenson also at the next pick, 136. And that's another guy you sniped us on. Son of a bitch. Evans and Godwin double stacks, nice. The Judy piece, I like it. Mooney, of course, it's going to rain. Mooney. And then Trey Harris, another pick that we liked, but we let go. Stacks up well with you. You got the McMillan. A lot of around Baker. So that's why you probably stop with the 2 QB. Just assume Baker's it. The Pierce, the Douglas, Henry, Otten, Arroyo. Ooh, the Otten piece too. So this is a ton. I mean, this is a
mega,
lot.
Ultra, super.
Probably because you already have 3 tight ends, and then the receivers seem good enough. But your ultimate not week 9 bye problem because you've got 4 on bye, but you still have 8. So I guess I can't complain there. Yeah, I don't mind you going 5 running backs. I just think it, for the glory, you could have stopped at 4, but probably it's a really nice 5. I think it's a strong team. The receivers will have to figure something out some of the weeks, but you've got some nice pieces with Trey Harris and Alec Pierce too, and then Mooney.
Yeah. No, I like it. It's a very interesting build with the three RBs to start, but I think you landed the plane.
Yeah, and then we didn't even bring up the Baker. It's so hard. Good call, JJ. It's so hard to notice the ADP falls on other people's team after the fact. But yeah, Baker at 111, and I've seen it before. I think he locked it in because he took all of the pieces except for Egbuka, So he'd already had Evans and Godwin. It makes it easier to get Baker to fall then. But I have seen Baker fall. This is a pretty extreme.
And
You know,
20 picks past ADP.
It's pretty nice.
Well.
That's very nice. So this is a somewhat unique build. And, maybe just tack on all those other Bucks pieces because why not? So good call there, JJ. Yeah, yep. We saw it. And then Otten too, but it's pretty late, right? And then the 3 New England pieces. So you got some nice other team stacks going on. It's a pretty fun team. Bindles. I'm going to stay on. I'm going to draft another one, but we did it. We had a great Ballsy stream, a great guess, and a fun time. 2 really good drafts. Appreciate you coming on, as always, my man. And next week, we'll be planning something big. I don't want to spoil it yet. Who we got coming? I don't want to spoil it to the chat what our next guest is going to be, but it's going to be hard to top our start so far. Of course, BBG and Greg coming on tonight. We've had a really, really good start to the show, but also it's only up from here. The summer is just starting. Things are going to get bigger and better. You never know what's around the corner. Bindles, what else do you have for the people? Oh, and then you had a dynasty question. I don't know if we ever got to it, but if you still want to answer that, I'm happy to do it.
Yeah. No, I was going to ask you before I left. I was going to post a dynasty video on Friday. I ended up getting derailed, so I didn't end up getting to record it, but I scheduled it out and everything. So I'm going to be posting. I'm going to try to post some more dynasty videos, not streams.
Smart. Not that the streams are bad. I'm just saying apparently the dynasty videos are hitting.
They are definitely hitting. It's pretty crazy. So I'm going to try to dip my toe into the videos for the first time in my YouTube career. So here's this trade I made. So this is in it's $100 dynasty league with it's a 0.75 tight end premium. It's with Ron Stewart commissioning it with him.
Oh, shout out.
So I won the championship last year. My team. Nice. Let me give you my team first. So it's Lamar, Bucky, Caleb Johnson, T. Higgins, Zay Flowers, Jaden Reed. I have a bunch of tight ends. I have Trey McBride, Jonnu, and Evan Ingram in 0.75 tight end premium. So it's good. You can flex those guys.
How rich?
Jacoby Myers, Gino as my QB2, and then I also have Darnold, Milrow, Russell Wilson. So I have a bunch of just random backup running backs. Charbonnet and Leggett on my bench. It's kind of top heavy. I don't have a ton of bench pieces, but definitely contending, obviously.
Yep.
And so I had JSN, and I traded him away for JSN and Kenneth Walker, and A. Rich, who I have just so many quarterbacks, and I'm of the belief that A. Rich is not going to be starting most of the year. So I just think at this point I'm kind of treating him like whatever, like a throw-in third round pick type guy. He has upside, obviously, but I don't really. I'm kind of out on him unless it's just like super, super cheap and I'm really needing a quarterback.
Okay.
For T. Higgins, Bucky Irving, and then a 227 thirds. So essentially, basically the meat of the deal is T. Higgins and Bucky Irving I received for Kenneth Walker and JSN, and then I got 227 thirds basically for Richardson just as a throw-in. So it's interesting. I think it kind of swings on how you view T. Higgins, because I'm just digging in. Like I have the Fantasy Points subscription, and they have him projected for like 17.5 points per game in full PPR. And right. I think he's still just really cheap. I've been able to acquire him super, super cheap for Zay Flowers straight up. I've been making a lot of T. Higgins trades recently, and I just think I think he's very underpriced based on just he signed his extension, so we're not worried about anything for that. And I think he's going to score a lot of points. Obviously, he's kind of variant with the injuries. And then I just feel safer about Bucky versus Kenneth Walker. I like Kenneth Walker. I have a ton of him. But if I can pivot into the younger, more exciting guy who's going at that 2-3 turn in Dynasty. Kind of just pivoting to guys where I feel like I'm maximizing kind of my contending window this year, having the other pieces I have.
Right.
And also just being a little bit lower on the Seahawks offense and JSN. I just don't think he's like I would make the bet that T. Higgins is going to outscore JSN this year. Obviously,
The more I think about it, I would think so. And you have more confidence in the Bengals offense. JSN, extremely talented. We all agree, but the situation is not looking good, and we don't know how soon it'll be until it looks good. It's not going to be Darnold again next year. They're going to keep carouseling QBs for a while now that Gino's gone. So I've got JSN in one of my dynasty leagues that I care a lot about. Maybe I should start considering, I just in that same league, I just got Hunter at the 105. Like,
ooh, nice.
Is it time to move on from JSN while before it's too late, before people start to catch on that, it's not the favorite pick anymore? I could probably still get a lot for him. That is also a league where I took Bucky and I got him at the 310 a few years ago, or I guess just last year, actually. Maybe not 310, maybe it was whatever. I think it was 310. It doesn't matter. But so I've got Bucky, and everyone's trying to trade me for Bucky. They keep trying to scam me for my Bucky, and I'm not giving them up. So the fact that you trade for Bucky is pretty nice.
Yeah, I think it's a weird one because I am just high. It's a T. Higgins bet basically versus JSN. I'm like, I don't care about the age difference of like, okay, yeah, Jason's younger. He's has more like years remaining, right? Like his value is more tied up in his youth versus his production. Not to say he could just go off this year. Like, I mean, it could happen, right? I just, with the Seahawks offense, Darnold, the O-line, all the other team situation stuff where I said they have a super strong defense, like I kind of want to capitalize now and upgrade my running back piece to Bucky. And then I believe I can get the same, if not better, production out of T. Higgins and get some youth back at running back and hopefully more production. I mean, I don't have enough Bucky. I didn't take enough of him last year in rookie drafts. And he's
I got lucky.
Yeah, he's pretty hard to acquire. So, and then, A-Rich, if A-Rich goes off this year and he's just the starting quarterback the whole year, like, then I probably lost. But I'm also betting against that. So, yeah, I thought it was an interesting one. I don't typically make a deal where I think maybe the market would say I lost. You know what I mean? Like maybe. But I have conviction on those two guys. So
I like the trade. I think that'll be a good like going over dynasty trades and then also like giving your input on the value of players is a lot of people are interested in that. So I think that could be a really cool video. And if it's anything of the production value of what I've seen you put together on the stuff that we've worked with together, like that you've been sending over to me, like it's gonna look great. So I'll be stoked to see what you put together. Are you trying to put it out by Friday or just gonna shoot? Build it on Friday?
That's a good question. It probably won't take that long to record. I was planning on recording it and posting it on last Friday. And I got derailed at work, started my new job. And so I didn't have time. Even I thought my Friday would be a little bit more freed up, but
it happens.
But yeah, no, going to be posting more Dynasty content. Obviously we'll be here every Monday with you. And yeah, if you guys aren't, I want to try to start pushing my Discord more. So if you guys,
I was going to mention it. I'll add it to my description at some point.
Okay.
Or I don't know how to, maybe I get a link. Maybe you can send me a link. I'll put it in the description.
Sure.
But guys, get into Bindles Discord. Tons of good resources. I'll say it so he doesn't have to, but also he'll say it too. He's got his ranks in there, his trade values, his tiering. We look at dynasty and trade questions all the time, and there's some good activity. But you could join in too, and take advantage of the opportunity to get into a pretty sharp dynasty space. That's my selling point. Get in.
Yeah, we got 75 members. It's free to join.
It's free.
I think. Yeah, there's a lot of, obviously we got Candyman in there, so there's ball knowers in there if Candyman's in there, and
I'm just learning. I'm learning from the best.
But yeah, post trades in there, any dynasty, best ball, anything related questions. There's a lot of good people in there, and yeah, my ranks kind of always updating them, not on a consistent like every week or something like that. Just kind of as movement happens, I'll be yeah, I think this is my first year doing ranks, but I think it's a huge edge to have some good ranks. I've used Jacob Sanderson's for a couple of years. I've used Ron Stewart's. I've used kind of conglomerate a bunch of different people's rankings,
Sure.
and then you kind of develop your own player takes as well. And I definitely think they're pretty sharp and can help you, either in a startup or just making trades. I think it can definitely help you. So yeah, get in there, guys, and make sure to like the video, subscribe to Candyman
Make sure you hit the like.
if you're not already, and go have a fun third draft, guys.
Bindles, how can they find your Discord? Is it
so if you go into my Twitter bio, it should be in there.
Oh, I have seen it in there. Okay, I'm gonna grab it right now.
It might actually, yeah. Let me see. Otherwise, let me. I can share it right now in the chat.
It's in your.
Or
Yeah, no, it's here. I've got the link. It's the invite link. I'm already in, but I did. I think I can put it in the chat here. Let's see what that looks like. Boom. I think that's it, right?
Let's see. Sometimes it times out. So let me put it in the new.
Hartman got it too. My man Hartman. Appreciate it. I don't know if mine works or if that one works, but
it's okay. One of them will work, right?
You guys are smart. You guys are internet, savants. Figure it out. Get in the Discord.
All right, guys. Have a great night. Yeah, that was fun.
See you, Bindles.
Have a good one.
All right, guys. Now we are going to get into whatever we can get into up for this next draft. We've had a great show so far. Appreciate you guys being here. Make sure you hit the like. Don't forget. Super fun having Greg on earlier from Coachspeak Index. I hope you guys enjoyed that piece. And then, of course, getting another draft with Bindles, always a fun time. But we're about to get into another draft. You already know what time it is. How you doing tonight, Chris B? Appreciate the kind words as always. Hope you're having a good one, man. Cody's ripping it with us. He's coming on tomorrow night. I've said it before, but get pumped. Get into Bindles Discord. You'll figure out the way to get in there. And then, yes. Peace. Take care, Bindles. Guys, let's take a little peek. I'm going to peek in. You don't have to, get ready, get prompted, but no sudden movements. I'm going to take a peek into the eliminator on the 22nd. And I'm going to let you know if we're going to stick with it. If it's within 3 or 5, one person, okay, get in. 20-second eliminator. Did not see that coming. Let's do it, though. Let's pivot to the eliminator. We drafted 2 BBMs. I feel fine with that pacing. We're going to do another Best Ball Mania tomorrow night with Cody. So, sorry for the fake out there. I did not see that one coming. But let's switch it up. We got to get these elims in to get some volume on the eliminators. Like I said, we're going to do more Best Ball Manias the rest of the week. So don't fret if you've already maxed your schnauzers and your pugs and your hounds, kind of like I have. You're probably also thinking about doing some Best Ball Manias at this time. Take advantage of the offer they put out for the marathon. Yeah. My bad. Hate to see it. Let's see what the vote came through is. Oh, strong for the BBMs. Strong for the BBMs too. That is the one thing I don't like about StreamYard is I can't actively see the poll, so I have to jump back and forth. So I kind of fumbled that one. And then wait, JJ. Damn, we missed it. My bad, guys. JJ, are you in this one? Are you Jalapeno Jenkins? I think that could be you. I wouldn't be surprised. Oh, Gibbs or Jefferson? I guess I just do Jefferson. Can I filter this to just elims? I think I can. No? That's weird. I thought I could. Justin Jefferson, I think, is a fine pick. Let's let that hit. That's a good point, though. I asked for the poll, and then I went against the wisdom of the crowd. Sorry, Putt Daddy. My bad. How do you know that? In the 8 spot? Oh, Pikachu 6. I would have gone with Jalapeno Jenkins. That looks more like JJ to me, but yeah, I know the Sentry. James is in here. I was going to give a shout out to James. I got sidetracked. Hartman is, as you might know, he's a sharp. He doesn't, he's a chat rat. He's a DJ. Nothing gets past him. He lives in the ADP. Make sure you guys check out Hartman's channel as well. He's putting some streams together, doing some great stuff. Always fun to see what he's up to. Nihal, what's up, brother? How you doing? Are you dropping Monty or Gibbs down your rankings after they lost their center? Honestly, no. Honestly, no. But I understand the sentiment, and I'm curious to know if you are, and I'm curious to know what the chat thinks. But there's this little story, that I've once heard about the Harvard rowing team. Okay, it's an old business case study, right? The Harvard rowing team had this varsity team, and then they had like a JV team. And the varsity team was like, let's just call it 5, whatever number it is, 5 or 6 best rowers in the nation, practically. Guys that were like Olympic quality, like this is the best rowing team in the country. But for some reason, these 5 or 6 guys come together, and the sum of their parts was underwhelming, and they weren't functioning well together. The JV team, which was like backing up this team, they came together, even though as individuals, they weren't better than any of the individual guys on the varsity team. They came together. The sum of their parts created a synergy, and they were beating out the varsity team in practices. So then they put the junior varsity team out in the competition, and they win. Long story short, offensive lines, I think, is more of a sum of the parts game. And it's never good to lose like a really, really strong piece of your offensive line and to lose continuity. But I still think there's enough other pieces there. But I have heard some other parts. I think Huhames was talking earlier in the chat about, they lost their center. And then there's another piece they lost too, I think, earlier in this season. I think it was one of their guards. Correct me if I'm wrong. But maybe there's some things moving around there. Maybe they can replace them. To me, it's hard to factor that in completely. So really long story and really long answer, but essentially no. I think Gibbs could just be the number 1 player in fantasy for 2025. I took Jefferson above him here, but I would have taken Gibbs ahead of Bijan and CD. It's like a toss up, Gibbs CD for me. And then, yeah, Monty, I don't know. I'm moving Monty down. It's more of because I think Gibbs is going to take over more of the workload. Last year, it was like 15 or 16 touches per game to Monty when he was healthy versus Gibbs having like 16 or 17 touches per game. When Monty was injured at the end of the season, we saw what Gibbs could do in weeks 15, 16, 17, 18. He was averaging 34 or so fantasy points per game in full PPR. Half PPR, it was like 30 or something. So pretty incredible stuff. What do you guys think? James Young, the Sentry in the 12 spot, running some elims. Got Pikachu in the 6. I'm on the clock. Bucky's still there. Must be Christmas. Because, wow, Justin Jefferson, Lad, I was between taking Bucky and Lad with my last pick, and then I get Bucky in the third round. Like, incredible stuff. Don't know how that one worked out, but I like this start for an eliminator. This feels really good. This is my core. I'm going to build out around it now. Let's try to land this plane. It's still early. Got to make the right moves. Got a pretty sharp draft room. I think these elims are, you got to you got to advance 6 out of 12 and get out of the first pod, and then anything can happen. Spinosaurus too. I definitely recognize that name. Maybe he's just running some elims. Maybe running into some people we've recognized. But yeah, I hope you guys are having a great Monday night, getting some drafts in. We're going to be drafting all week, so get ready. Get in here. Get your questions answered. I love it. Detroit's Ragnar retiring NFL number 2 to 3 center was surprising to me. Definitely reflect the sun. I didn't see that coming. Who Hames in here? Always. Yeah, Who Hames, what were you saying earlier about Zeitler? I can do some research too on the side, but if you already know, I'm interested to know your thoughts. Lions Zeitler, was that who it was? Yeah, Kevin Zeitler, right? Was a guard, like I was thinking. He's on the Titans now. No. What? He was on the... No, he's on the Titans now. He was on the Lions. Right? I think I got that right. We're doing some chat rat PI investigative work here. Hartman's triangulating all of the facts about everyone in the chat. He's keeping them on his ADP board, and he's understanding your drafting tendencies to use it against you. So watch out. Yeah, I recognize Jalapeno Jenkins. I mean, at this rate, who haven't we seen before in these draft rooms? It's a lot of the same names. I think that's a fair take. Okay, so I think we're on the same page. Okay. Yeah, that's it. These are good points. Yeah, I might have to move Monty down in my ranks just a bit. Yes, Zeitler was a big guard. Yep. Okay, because I recognize that name. What is the black versus the red shield? Nothing really. It's just the amount of tournaments or money you've won, and I think tournaments, not necessarily money, and or the amount of tournaments you've entered. So I got my red badge from finishing top 10 in the finals of a poodle, plus that got me to a black badge, I think. And then kind of like all these picks. I'll just go mixing. And then I had a top 4 finish in the Albatross last year, the golf best ball season long majors only tournament. So I've had 2 top 10 finishes. I think that's what got me my badge. But I used to know, because before I had the badge, I was like, oh, how do I get, the badges and all that stuff? There's certain rules to it, but essentially you get the black badge either at a certain number of drafts you've entered experience, or highly experienced, your outcomes. So if like you win a bunch of tournaments or you win a bunch of like dailies, I think you can get the badges and stuff. And then there's other components, the headbands, the mohawks, the horns. I bet you guys in the chat know better than me. I just like Jameson Williams. It's not even about anything other than that. I like him. I would have had him high in my ranks. He's falling to me a little bit there. I considered Hurts with my last pick. I think I can build out a strong team with some of these QBs later. Now that I have Jameson Williams too, I've got options with McCarthy, Herbert, and Goff. This feels like a good one. The Bucky in the 3rd round is pretty sweet. I almost grabbed T-Mac I was considering T-Mac or Joe Mixon or Jalen Hurts, and then I'm happy to see J-Mo still there too. If not for J-Mo, I might have taken Harvey. James Conner going pick 49. Same thing with Kamara 48. That's probably why J-Mo fell to me, but I don't mind those picks. I just think you got to take stands on players at some point. Looks like he, from the one spot, he's got the double Bengals with Chase and T. He goes Rashi, then Kamara Connor. Could work. The Kyron fall in this one. Look at James took Chuba at 36. Pretty interesting. Definitely a big pull up for Chuba. The ADPs are slightly different here than in Best Ball Mania, so it kind of throws me off a little bit. Like seeing Zay Flowers go pick 60 is kind of surprising. They're just different enough, but I don't fully understand why. I get that there's a little bit of a higher level of interest in the QBs, the elite ones, and then the running backs do seem to have higher ADPs, but I don't fully get it. Hartman is a Lions diehard. Yeah, didn't resign. That's right. It's all coming back to me. These are things that I hear that I kind of know, but don't fully, internalize and memorize. But like it sounds right. When I hear it, I go, oh, yeah, that's what that is. Yeah, from the winnings. Yeah, either you do a bunch of drafts or you got to win. Tonight's going great, Nick. How you doing, brother? How are things popping off over there? You've been doing some late night streams. You've been doing some elims. I just hopped into this elim. We did 2 Best Ball Manias right before. Some pretty good drafts. I think the team we did with Bindles and Greg, the first one, it's real fun. Just a big bet on the Cowboys. I can check it off my list. I got the double stack Pickens and CD with Dak. And then Bindles and I, and some other nice pieces on that team too. Bindles and I went with a pretty heavy 49ers Purdy team with CMC, Ricky Pearsall, Slick Rick, Rizzy Pearsall, and also Kittle. And then we also had some nice pieces with Penix, London, not Cam Akers, gosh, Kyron Williams and Devontae Adams. And then, yeah, it was just a fun team that came together. Dang, I kind of wanted to take Addison, but I think in this format, if he has the bye week, or not the bye week, because the suspension, it's a pretty bad pick. I don't mind going Pollard there. It's a little rich. Sometimes I might think about taking the rookies over him. Looks like Caleb is priced pretty far back there. Aaron Jones pulled up a little bit too. With Addison, the suspension risk is just, it really puts a damper on wanting to grab him early. I probably back him up at least a full round, if not a little bit more, because if he misses 3 games, you could get eliminated before he ever hits your lineup. And then I don't have to force the Vikings, team level correlation. I've got Jefferson. Let's just see how far we can push a guy like Addison in this kind of room. I don't know when I'd be interested to take him. I think I'm going to stay off for a little bit. I don't know if I mind Laporta here, though. I don't think... On second thought, it probably is smarter to pivot off of the tight end because it seems like a lot of replaceable points I can get later. I'm going to go Judkins. I almost took him over Pollard, so I'm happy to get him there. I don't think he's necessarily a slow start guy. I think he's a guy that can handle a workload. My only concern is like how good the Browns are, but what Greg was saying earlier about Kevin Stefanski being a very competent coach and being able to figure it out, I think gives me some continued reassurance that Judkins can hit. And I know he's talented. I think he's talented. So got to play a little catch up at receiver. But this is a team where I could just, 4, maybe at the most 5 running backs, and I'm good. I'm getting to the range where it's going to be receivers and quarterbacks for a while. So I probably do want to grab another receiver before it's too late. And I think passing on Laporta was probably the smart move. Oh, there we go. The fine print. I would say the caveat to this is you could enter 2 drafts, 1 or 2 drafts, win them, and get the badges. So you can just win. But I think in general, yes. Yeah, push the bye weeks as late as possible. Push stacks without giving away a week. Building for week 8. Yeah, if I look at mine, I've got some pretty mid to late buys so far, except for Jefferson at 6 and Mixon at 6. Those are my 2 earliest, which is, I think, somewhat concerning because Mixon's going to hit the lineup a lot, and so is Jefferson. So I feel like if this team even makes it to week 6, which is not a given and is actually pretty rare occurrence across the portfolio eliminator squads you draft, the odds of getting to week 6 are already very low. But if I do get there, I'm going to want to have some depth because I'm now going up against teams like the Gibbs teams or the Lamb teams who aren't going to be on bye that week. So it's going to be pretty tough to beat them. So it does make sense. I do see that aspect of it. Something to lean into. As this is like I haven't even done 10 eliminators yet. So as I start to get into some double digit elims, definitely something to consider. I think Cup's a great pick here. He can start the season strong. If he's full health, he's a guy who can start off strong. Got the week 8 bye. Not too worried about that. Versus Ayuk, who's going to be injured, so that's kind of a fade position. Trying to think about the QBs. And if I want to just grab one, Knicks goes. Let's see. If I don't take a QB, my next pick is 117, and I have to get Goff past the Amon-Ra drafter, who has Jaden Daniels, but might feel good about stopping with 2. I think I'll just go Fields here. I mean, I've been drafting Fields a ton tonight. I'm going to keep drafting Fields. He should have a really nice rushing floor, which elevates his weekly scoring. And then that makes me feel better about pushing Goff because maybe the Amon-Ra drafter feels comfortable with Jaden Daniels, but he's going to have to pass Goff twice at pick 106 and 111. We'll see. Maybe he does it. I don't have to get Goff on this build considering J-Mo's like my third receiver. I can still get Herbert and McCarthy at some point. So feeling decent about that. Let's see what JJ, aka Pikachu 6, is up to. He's built a team around Neighbors and JT, Devontae Adams, James Cook, Calvin Ridley, Juwan Jennings. Pretty nice so far. Laporta, Mayfield, Egbuka. So I think you're backstacking Mayfield, it looks like. But I like the squad so far. Very nice. We've got James in the 12 spot. Ginty, BTJ. Like I said, he's making a claim on Chuba over Brees, which I think is very interesting. Then the Kyron pick, decent. Zay Flowers falls at 60. Olave, we like. Matthew Golden, I like. Darnell Mooney, one of my favorite clicks. I think everyone's high on Mooney. Who isn't? How is his ADP already not, or not already in like the 70s in all formats? And then Mark Andrews, I think that's a good pick in this format too. Maybe he starts the season strong without the injuries and all the car accidents and whatever else going on this year. Nice. Yeah, thanks, Nick. I like that one too. Good luck in your marathons. Like we got the, underdog promo, so we're ripping marathons. I entered 7 marathon slows and they've already all started. So that's something to keep me busy for the next 2 weeks. Yep, helped me too. Thoughts on Chuba? I don't know if I like him in his ADP. I don't know if I like him in his ADP. He's on the Panthers after all. The Panthers do have a very nice offensive line, and they're kind of on the come up, and they've been investing, first round picks in their offense with. See, there goes Jared Goff. I called that one. They've been investing in their their offense with first round picks, like, of course, Leggett and then T-Mac. So I think the Panthers are, and also obviously Bryce Young. I think they're moving in the right direction. So Chuba had a pretty nice season last year, right? A lot of touchdowns, but I think he's a volume-based play. They bring in Dowdle. Does he take some of the work off? I don't know. A lot of the guys in the chat are pretty high on Chuba. I have Chuba in Best Ball Mania ranked a little bit behind ADP. I prefer guys like, I have to look at my ranks, but I think Chuba's fine. I think he's fine at ADP. He's not too expensive, but there's a few running backs I like in the same tier in that range. And I like James Conner a lot, and he goes a little bit later, typically. Probably need to go back to receiver. And Njoku's kind of a nice piece. I'm going to take a shot on Keon. I kind of need to go back to receiver, and tight end's not the highest priority for me. Maybe Ramondre would have been nice there. I didn't really look at running backs enough. Maybe Ramondre would have been a good pick there. But again, I've already got the 4 running backs. Yeah, it's a nice value on Ramondre. I think it's a good pick in this format. And just in general, Ramondre seems like a fine pick around 125. Where did ETN go in this one? Pick 110. So yeah, he's rising with the recent Liam Cohen Coachspeak faith restored in ETN. I don't know. I'm probably still in the Tootin train, kind of like Bindles was saying. So I've got, through my first 11 picks, 2 QBs in Justin Fields and Justin Herbert. Herbert stacked up with Ladd McConkey, my second overall pick. in the second round. I've got 4 running backs: Bucky Irving, who I got in the third round, nice little value; Joe Mixon, Tony Pollard, Quinshon Judkins, so really strong in the running back department. Wide receivers, not a slouch either, though. Justin Jefferson, McConkey, Jamison Williams. I know you guys hate him, Cooper Kupp, but he's decent. Gives me, I think he can start off the season strong, at least a nice little piece. And then Keon Coleman for some upside, but we're kind of asking a lot there. I'll probably try to avoid the week 6 buys from here on out just because of the Mixon and Justin Jefferson overlap. So no more Vikings, no more Texans, and we'll cover it. The only 2 teams on bye in week 6. I don't want to go overboard on week 8 either, but I'm not at the point where I have to worry so much. There's still a bunch of rounds left. And then McCarthy went to Jalapeno Jenkins with a Hawkinson connection. I guess he just needed another QB. He had Burrow, running out of time to make his choice. I'm going to go Palmer there. Don't love it. I feel like if I do take another running back with my next pick, it's kind of a lot of the same guys. Not crazy about Palmer there. Probably should have just gone tight end. Probably Goddard was the pick there. I do need a little bit of depth at wide receiver, and then team stacking the Bills is just kind of fun. Maybe Keon Coleman takes a step forward. Maybe Josh Palmer is a guy. Some people are in on Palmer. A little bit of a reach. Don't hate it, though. Goddard was the right click. And because, well, we'll see. I've got some tight end ideas later. I'm cool with Eckler here. It's either him or Garendo, and I don't have a strong feeling on one or the other. I think Eckler might have a tiny bit more standalone value, and Garendo has a tiny bit better contingent value. I don't know, though, for sure. Either one, good offense, good pass catching back. Later buys. I don't mind either one. So I'm probably done with those 5 running backs. Unless I take a 6 just because there's no other good QB options that I need that make sense. I need to keep hammering wide receivers. I'm pushing tight end really late. But I do know in this format, the tight ends dry up an extra round early. So 14, 15, 16 might not be a bad spot to grab 3 tight ends and then just stack on late wide receivers. I don't know what it would take for me to take another QB because I don't really have any great stacking partners. I've got one in mind that you guys would probably hate, but I think I've got a late option. And there's always something you can do kind of. I have a near turn pick with 16, round 16, round 17. I could do something there around maybe a late QB and a backstack option. So keep my eyes peeled on the board. Who are my favorite late round running backs? Bigsby, Benson, Spears. Yeah. I mean, I'll go super late. I'll tell you something that I like really, really late. I like Emmanuel Wilson on the Packers. I'm on to him lately. He's a late, very late running back. He put up better numbers than Benson. Spears, I think, obviously just played more throughout the season and put up. Didn't Spears put up more yardage? I'd looked that up in a while. It's been a while. What was Spears' total at the end? It's more about the per game in this format, but what was his total? Yeah, he put up. Spears and Wilson had pretty comparable total points, but Spears did it in less games and then also more receiving yards. But Wilson had more rushing yards than Spears did. Just obviously, there's a factor about how many games Spears played. Who else do I like late? Jarquez Hunter, my favorite late pick at running back. I like Taj Brooks. Yeah, I saw that. I saw this comment a while ago, but I think it makes a lot of sense. I don't know if I'll be able to get to 3 QBs in this one, but we'll see. I wanted to go Pierce there. I just like him on a lot of my teams. He can just have a huge week for you and really help you out. I think it'd be a nice piece on this wide receiver room too. And then it felt like I've got a little bit of a buffer with Ertz. Although, yeah, like I said, 2 of the tight ends went, and neither one of them Ertz. That feels like it's likely that I can get Ertz. I'm cool with Gesicki too. Even Otten would be fine. So I'm really pushing tight end in this one, and Ertz is still there. Now do I go Richardson? No. Bindles soon to be out. I don't know. Maybe not worth it. The risk of the benching. Maybe he doesn't even, maybe he's not even the starter week 1. So until I get more information there, not crazy about that pick. I'll do it if it's more convenient for me in like a late round. But I'm going to grab Ertz. And then I am now at a 2-5-7-1 build. I feel good with those 5 running backs. Not too concentrated on any one bye week. Mixon's off in week 6. If I even make it to week 6, I think Bucky, Pollard, Judkins, and Eckler can cover. The receivers starting to feel better about it, right? A nice top 3, a little bit weaker in the back 4, but potentially some spike week guys in like Cup and Pierce. We'll see what Palmer can do. We'll see what Coleman can do in year 2. And then a slight concern about, Justin Jefferson and Mixon both being out week 6. Maybe these guys can cover. I got 2 out in week 8, 2 out in week 7. So I'll try to avoid week 7 and week 8 and week 6. Although I've got none of my running backs are out in week 7 or 8. That kind of feels nice, helping me hit the flex so that I can hashtag win the flex, as Nick would say. Winning the flex. Ertz in there, don't mind it at all. What do you guys think the bench risk is on a guy like Richardson? Might just not even start, which is crazy. Hola, Bindles. Great show, my man. Thanks for all of the cool media and stuff you're putting together. Appreciate it. Love getting creative, and a lot of stuff you're working on I think is really fun. I guess we didn't draft you know who. Otherwise we could have sprung out the new clip, but I'll definitely break it out sooner than later. And then we'll have to break out that one motion background you set up too. I think it in the right setting, that's like it'll catch someone really off guard. It'll be really funny. Yeah, true. Yeah, I'm so far behind. Of course, 3 draft, 3 field shares. I'm obsessed. I know. See, I was just referring to that, the golden clip. Exactly. Like Michael Wilson has like a very solid role on his offense. What's his little blurb though? What was Michael Wilson's recent blurb? Good to go. Hamstring. Right. I think he's potentially the third or fourth best option in that offense passing wise. So I said I wouldn't take another week 8 guy, but I don't think it matters because my running backs I don't have any week 8 issues. Michael Wilson seems fine. Made the choice for me though. I will take Juwan Johnson over Schultz. And then got one pick left. 2582. The problem with taking a QB like Shuck or Jones is you can get eliminated before they ever even start, and so they're just a dead spot on your team. Dart, very much so, because we don't expect him to start for a while. So maybe Russell Wilson's a better pick in this format where you need starters early. How do you guys feel about Conklin? Back him up with Herbert. I don't know that I need that. He's got decent production historically, pretty consistent. Similar, Okonkwo has been a good option for them. Cam Ward's about to elevate the whole offense. You know, this is a Chiggy team. JT Sanders, we've been talking about, takes a step forward in year 2. Higbee's been there, done that. He's the veteran. Seems undervalued right now. One sec, let the dog out. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? And the dog wants back in just right when I let her out. Typical dog stuff. Don't need the receiver. Running backs. I mean, I'm not going to fall in love with it. They'd be like Brooks or Emmanuel. Probably just go tight end. Or take Russell Wilson for the advance. Threw it to Higbee. The dog goes in, the dog goes out. I thought about Russell Wilson there. Probably a good piece just for like the increasing my QB floor. But I feel pretty good about Herbert and Fields. There's no risk of them losing their jobs, so they just got to do it for me. And then the running backs were strong enough. The receivers, I've got talent up top with depth in the back. So I think this works. No one here is at any risk of losing their job, their spot. They seem like they're going to be getting snaps. I guess you could maybe argue about Pierce and then the emergence of Adonai Mitchell, but it really just seems like Pierce has been so good for them, and they, drafted him in the second round a few years ago. He's been a hit for them. Maybe Cup falls off at some point, but I think he's still got something left. Ertz, Juwan Johnson, Tyler Higbee, veteran group. Higbee maybe gets, phased out for Terrence Ferguson, but maybe not immediately. And you see what Higbee did in the playoff game. Higbee put up some numbers after he came back from that knee injury, and he's been a good piece for them, historically. It's more about the touchdown upside, right? So he had in the playoff games, and even the week before that, in week 18, when he came back and was starting to look, get some more, and never really a large snap share either, except for week 20 against the Eagles, where they leaned on him with 10 targets, 4 in the red zone, and got a touchdown, 7 receptions, 54 yards. So he's a touchdown guy, right? Not a big yardage guy, 50, 60 yards, but you want that touchdown. Just a bet on the Rams offense. I don't know, maybe Ferguson. I think it's fine. I think Higbee in this format's a fine pick. Overall, it's funny to switch from Best Ball Manias to an Eliminator because I really do have to do some of the things that James was mentioning, like switching, worrying about your buys, switching into a different mindset. But I think I like the way I built that team, getting tight ends super late. Like, think about Juwan Johnson and Tyler Higbee. I think they're slightly more valuable than a guy like Jalen Lane or there's some interesting running backs in this range. Yeah. That'd be hilarious. Maybe one day. Best ball's on the come up. Maybe one day we'll have some pull, like what you're saying, Rock. Maybe one day we'll make it happen. Appreciate you guys for throwing likes on the stream. 49 likes. That might be a record. If you haven't hit the like already, consider it. If you're watching on Twitter or you're watching on YouTube, but you haven't jumped in the chat yet, come say what up. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. More Best Ball Mania drafts, Eliminator drafts, all this good stuff coming up the rest of the week. Had a bunch of fun drafts over the last couple of days. Great guests on. Everything is it's the beginning of Best Ball summer. We're having a great time. Everything's going great. Kenny Pickett, takeaway Rock. He's the betting odds favorite to start. He's the betting odds favorite to wear 2 gloves. I would say Joe Flacco probably starts. Jalapeno Jenkins finished 13th in Best Ball Mania 5 last year. We've seen him around. Yo, we live. What up, Jamie? How you doing, brother? Yeah, coming around on Lad finally. Who's out on Lad? Not me. Interesting take there. Yeah, the moving backgrounds. I've got one loaded. Let me show y'all what Bindles is talking about. I'm gonna throw on some music. Oh. I think it's pretty hype. If you guys don't already know, that's Tom Cruise in Tropic Thunder. One of the only movies I saw in theaters twice consecutively. I went on like a Friday night with a bunch of friends, and I went with a different group of friends on Saturday night. And I just remember distinctly this being one of the greatest movies of my high school experience. So, I don't know if I'd recommend watching it in today's day and age, but if you haven't already seen it, it might not click. But I think this is going to be something on the channel. Like, shout out to Bindles for putting this together. But we need to fill space, get a water break, let the dog out. I could vibe here for a minute. Incredible. Love it. We'll definitely lean back into the creative side, get some more media things going. I'll have to figure out. I'm interested. I'm interested to learn more how we can build some of that new kind of fun stuff. Bindles is a creative genius, I will say. We'll do some more moving backgrounds. That one's a little bit distracting, but it's fun for like a little, interlude piece or something. But yeah, the surfing one you put behind the stream for BBG last week was really cool too. Yeah, I think Mike Wilson's fine. You went to Zach Moss. I don't know. He had the neck injury, but maybe he's back. And then you went 3-7. Let's look at James' team. 3-7-6-2. What's the 6? I think so. I mean, it's gonna be tough for your receivers in week 5 with the buys though. 1, 2, 3, 4 options. But then you'll cover your flex with the running back probably every week, so I could see it. You got some nice stacks. I don't hate this team. Maybe just balance it out a little bit more. I don't know though. I don't know. It's an interesting format. I think I like the Zach Moss. I'm in on Taj Brooks, so it's hard for me to get to Moss. But it's a cheap piece of a really good offense, so I can't hate it too much. And we don't know yet. We don't have enough information to know if it's going to be Zach Moss. I just think it's somewhat hard to come back from a neck injury. We'll see. Risky Business? Oh, God. Yeah, that's another Tom Cruise one. I'm not as familiar with Risky Business, but You Are Old, and it is a classic. Facts. I'm getting old, too. But we did it. We drafted an eliminator. We drafted a bunch of fun teams tonight. Great show. Great start to the week. It's Monday night. Getting drafts in. We're closing out tournaments. Like I said, Cody's coming on tomorrow to do Best Ball Manias. I've got a bunch of shows this week. I've got JT Best Ball on Thursday. Wednesday, we'll see what we can get into. And it was a super fun show with Greg tonight. Make sure you check out his streams coming up. he's got an all-star, all-time lineup for the rest of this week. He's putting out some great content as it is already. If you haven't already seen his streams that he's done. And like I said, follow him on Twitter. Consider subscribing to his Patreon. I'm in there. I'm in the Discord. I'm a big fan. So if you didn't hear me earlier when I was saying about that, go check it out. The Coachspeak Index. And yeah, way to get ballsy. We did it, guys. Episode 3 of the Ballsy Show. Can you believe it? We're already 3 episodes in. 4 if you count episode 0, which was more of a launch party. But more fun stuff to come. Be on the lookout for the announcement. We're going to be on Bindles channel next Monday. Subscribe to Bindles channel. Link in description. Get into Bindles Discord. Come talk Dynasty trades with us. He's putting together some content. So Bindles channel for Ballsy next Monday night. And we'll be announcing that guest very soon. You guys are going to be excited about it. And with that, let's kick it to the Ballsy outro. And I'll see you guys tomorrow night. Stay tuned. Also, follow me on Twitter at FFB Garage if you're not already. You know, sometimes some good stuff. Usually just promoting the stream, but some decent stuff too sometimes. I think I've got the outro loaded. We'll find out. Yep, there it is. All right, peace. See you guys. Ballsy outro.